Muhammad, and let us see. Hello? Hello, my friend. You are a Muslim?
Yes.
What do you mean, yes? You're not sure?
Just yeah, on the edge. I've been watching your videos, and it's been kind of messing with me a lot, and
Okay.
really wanted to get in contact with you.
All right. So what do you think? What do you want to tell me? Go ahead.
I want you to. I have the Quran app on my phone,
Okay.
and I have a physical Quran too.
No problem.
Growing up, I never learned about hadiths. If they talked about them, it was never really got into deeply.
Mm-hmm.
It was always just the Quran. The Quran has been known throughout my whole life as being perfect, as being no contradictions, nothing in it whatsoever. And it's something, after 30 years of being told this every single time, and then seeing something where someone's saying that it's not, I want irrefutable proof where I have it myself. And if someone can show me,
All right. But you said you watched my videos before?
It's been like 2.5 weeks.
Okay, but until now, from all 2.5 weeks, you did not see anything? Is it enough to prove to you Islam is false?
I did, man, but anything that I would have, I would mention it to somebody, and they would tell me, "Oh no, that was wrong." Oh
Okay,
no,
tell me one of them that they said to you this is wrong, which mean I am wrong.
like I remember one where it was like the sun was setting in murky water.
Yeah,
It was, I think, Zulqarnain.
exactly. You speak Arabic?
A story. No, I don't speak Arabic.
Okay.
I rely on the translations.
All right. So what about it? What they said to you? What they said to you?
They say that, well, do you know what verse it was? I can go to it really quickly because I have it on my phone.
This is a chapter 18, verse number 86.
Chapter 18, verse number 86. So this thing is 18, verse number. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. You said chapter 18, verse 86?
Yeah.
Okay. The cave?
Yeah.
And he marched westward till when he came to the setting of the sun, it appeared to him that it was setting in a dark, turbid sea.
Where it says it appeared to him?
I'm reading it on. Let me see. I'm trying to get the source to this. The Clear Quran, Dr. Mustafa Khattab.
Well, he's a liar, my friend. You can go right now. You can copy the Arabic words one by one, and you will not find anywhere it says appear to him. It says, وَوَجَدَهَا تَغْرِبُ فِي عَيْنٍ حَمِيَةٍ. وَجَدَهَا, he found it.
Yes.
Sitting in a spring of black, muddy, hot water. Where it says appear to him, where is the word appear?
They put it in brackets, which does that mean they added it?
Exactly. They are lying.
Okay, so I mentioned that, and the guy said no. He's telling me that I have to learn classical Arabic before I can make a claim like that.
No problem. You see, Arabic is Arabic. Okay, how if we learn classical Arabic, then if the Arabic is so clear, why we are adding the word appear to him if it's not there?
That's what I asked him. Well, what I asked him was, even though I had the translation that he was showing me, where they have it in brackets where it says appeared, I asked him about the last part of the sentence where this is where he just cut me off completely. I told him, even if it does say appears, very well, okay, that's okay. But if it appears to be setting, then why is he talking about finding some people there?
Exactly.
Where is there?
Because it says many things, actually many mistakes. First of all, until when he reached the setting place of the sun. The Quran confirmed that there is a place where the sun set. Correct?
Doesn't it? It says that it goes under his throne.
No. Here it says in the verse alone. We can connect data to other hadith, yeah. but for now, until he reached the setting place of the sun. So this is a place, correct?
The setting place, correct? Yes.
Okay, so that is a mistake. That's a big mistake. Secondly, who's talking? Allah. It's not the guy talking. He found it sitting. So Allah reporting a find, not thought. Thought is different. And if he found, if even if we want to say he thought, then Allah should correct him, because Allah is the one who sent him there. You know what the point of saying he found it, he thought, if he don't want to correct him? Did Allah correct him? The hadith, the verse saying he found it sitting in a spring of a muddy hot water, black muddy water. And the Muslim, they try to fool people. They say it appeared to him. Appeared to him what? Can you continue?
It appeared to him to be setting in a spring of murky water.
Okay, how that
where,
spring, how
where
spring,
he found some people.
yeah, how a spring of water is going to fool me? Spring, it's a spring. It's not even an ocean.
A spring of murky water.
How big the spring will be? Spring is, you know, a few inches of water.
What's the Arabic word for spring?
Ain.
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 Water. Okay, so
here we go. In Arabic it says وجدها تغرب في عين حمئة. Ain is a spring of water. Hamia is very hot and boiling, and at the same time it's muddy because the water is mixed with the mud, you know, boiling, you know, like you see a volcano, how the volcano water is, you know. This is exactly, so the Quran is speaking about something. The Muslim, they try to hide it. They say, oh, this is about when you go in the ocean, you see the sun setting, you would think it's in the ocean, and he thought this way, but this is false, because it says he found the setting place of the sun, Allah reporting a find, discovery, and then he found that sitting in a spring of water, not an ocean, and that water is hot. What is the hot? Which is boiling and muddy. Same time,
because he thinks the sun is going in there.
Yeah. Same time, Muhammad, he confirmed that. Muhammad in the hadith.
Where did he confirm that?
In the hadith. Muhammad in the hadith, he said, I was sitting behind the Messenger of Allah, SAWS, who was riding a donkey. While the sun was setting, he asked, do you know where this set? I replied, Allah and his apostle knows best. He said, it's set in a spring of warm water, Hamiyah.
What hadith is that?
This is Sunan Abi Dawood, which is Sahih Abi Dawood, hadith number 4002.
Hadith 4002. And then you look these up and they have explanations, but one thing that, because what I'm doing, the reason why I really wanted to call you is I'm losing everything right now. My wife, my 2 kids, my whole family's about, you know, gonna find out soon. I'm about to compile as much as I can and go to my local mosque over here and go to the imam and confront him about these things, because I don't want to be told.
Do you have the imam phone? You know, you can call him, join us.
I don't have his phone number. There's one by my house over here. I don't know him that well. I know another one, but he's,
well, you can, I mean, anytime if you wish, anytime you can bring, if they want to say to you, this guy, they want to debate me, they are welcome. You sit and watch, you know, and you be the judge. As you see, this is all, they are lying.
So then what, when they mention miracles, or not miracles, but more prophecies, I get told all the time, well, how can you be so blind when there's the prophet predicted prophecies that are coming true today? And like they say, he predicted that everybody was going to be competing for the tallest buildings, and that some rivers were going to dry up. That is actually happening now.
My friend, actually, all those prophecies are false, because first of all, the people of Yemen, they have high buildings since 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago. This is not a prophecy. This is false. Same time, if you go and read the hadith, you will see the order of it. It is more funny because supposedly those things will happen after the Dajjal come, not before. There's an order for those things to happen. So if you read the order, you will find that the order is very funny and it's impossible.
Okay.
But anyway,
And
you know, I want to ask you, did you call me before?
no, I haven't. This is my first
You
time.
never. Okay. What about now? I mean, don't you go to mosque? You said you go to mosque.
I have, but I haven't gone. I haven't gone in a while because
what you can do, what you can do, I'm just trying to help you. You know,
yeah.
you can right now, even if you don't have the phone, the mosque number, you can search the name of the mosque in your area, and you can call whoever in charge, and tell him, I will put you in the phone. Listen to this guy, what he's saying. Please, come on, you know, do something. You know.
Because I want to listen. I want to be there.
Yeah.
You know.
This is what I'm saying to you. I want to show you that those people are a bunch of liars and they are just trying to duct tape. And as you see, I never said anything. As long as you are watching me for more than 2 weeks, then you see I never say anything without showing in the screen. And I just did show you on the screen, correct?
See, yeah, I respect the reason why I kept following your videos, because I've seen videos where people have done this in the past, and I dismiss them because other people can make them look silly. Like, the debate goes to a point where I agree with the Muslim, you know, scholar or whatever he may be, because they're able to answer questions so well. But I forget what video it was where you showed somebody. This is where I really wanted to call you. Where someone asked you to show him clear proof of a contradiction in the Quran, where one chapter it says that this happens and then the next chapter it gets it wrong. You showed him something about the order of the creation of the earth and the universe.
Yeah.
That flipped. And that is one thing. Where was that? Because that's the one biggest thing for me. It's where
you
but
can't
tell me to understand Arabic.
There is tons of things in the Quran are contradiction. Everything in the Quran is contradiction. Everything. I mean, you can pick up any chapter and I will show you how stupid it is. Every single chapter in the Quran is a joke. It is, I mean, it's a mockery. The problem is that we, as you know, majority of people, you know, not only you, even Christians and whatever, when they read, they don't go deep in the word. They just read, you know, and nobody notice what's going on. But if you read carefully, you will see how stupid. I will give you an example. Can you name for me a chapter you think it's really good? Give me a chapter you think it's really good.
Chapter that's really good.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's been a while.
Just to make it simple, I want you to give me a chapter you think there's no way I can find something bad about it. This is how good my challenge is. Like, find me a chapter which there's no way this guy he can find something about it. He can complain or make something, you know, not right.
What about the cave?
The cave is the most horrible one. We just found the sunset in murky water.
that chapter is the one we were taught the most when I was a young kid.
The cave is where Zulqarnain and the seven sleepers and all those stupid stories. I mean, come on, you know, the whole chapter. Okay, if we go right now, as long as you are mentioning the cave, you know, just for fun. If we go in the cave, in chapter of the cave, and there is connection between the stories in the cave and chapter of An-Naml, because as usual, Muhammad, he mixed things up. So he speak about Sulaiman here and there and everywhere. So in one place, Sulaiman is going to a trip. He have a trip. He's a flying over using flying carpet. Do you know that he have a flying carpet, right?
Suleiman,
yeah,
he controls jinns. He's
exactly. But do you know about the flying carpet?
I believe I've heard about it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he got a flying carpet that he offered to fly. I forgot who it was on.
Yeah. So you know, Sulaiman, he ordered the flying carpet. As an example, in chapter 21, verse number 81. This is why the Quran is very funny. I mean, you can find a story about one person in one place. It's all over the Quran. So in chapter 21, chapter of Al-Anbiya, Suleiman, this guy is a magical guy. You know, he have amazing stories about him. You will find that he's suddenly talking about Noah, and then suddenly he talk about Suleiman. So he jump, and in Suleiman, you know, he speak about them. Remember Dawood and Suleiman and Solomon, and we gave them judgment in the case of the field, which is very funny. I mean, what is that? How we understand the story here in the verse number 78. And then he continue, and then we made Suleiman understand, smart, you know, we made him wise. Okay, and then suddenly, and we made with David, we subjugated the mountains and the birds to glorify and provide along with Dawood. I mean, what does that mean? Dawood and David and the bird and the mountains are praising Allah. What does that mean? Silly, stupid. And then and the birds, and then he continues. Suddenly, he jumped, and then and to Suleiman, we subjugated the wind strongly, ragging, running by his command. So there's a rag. Go under the rag of the wind. Go under the rag of Suleiman, and he fly with it. But what the purpose of this story? What we learn? Nothing. So Allah subjugated the wind to Suleiman. He can go ride a carpet which can fit for 600,000 shares, and they will carry him and his kingdom and his chairs and all those things. And then continue. And then the shayateen, they are divers for Suleiman.
They are divers.
Yeah, they dive for him to get him jewels from the ocean. It says here, and the shaitan, women الشياطين من يغوصون له, from the shaitans, from the satans, the devils, were some who dive for him. Dive. I mean, have you ever heard of such a corporation? This guy, he have a flying carpet, he have a flying horse, he slaughter him when he get angry, so Allah gave him instead flying carpet so he can slaughter the carpet because he have a timber. And then Allah, he gave him all the command of the shaitans, and the satans, they die for him so they can get him rubies and jewelry. This is why Suleiman was so rich according to Islam, because shaitan died for him, you know. And then suddenly he jumped to Jacob, or so Job. What the heck is that? From the flying carpet of Suleiman, and Job. Okay, so how this can be from God? Flying carpet. What we learn from this? Nothing. At least tell us who is Suleiman, where this guy he lived, what he did, what he taught. Nothing. We gave him flying carpet, we gave him limousine, we gave him a flying horse, we gave him a ring, and he have an iPad, and then iPhone 13, and then he click iPhone 13, and you believe it or not, he can speak to the Chinese. And what do you know about Chinese? They always say tease. I mean, what the heck is that? What the story for? Nothing. Then you go to different chapter. We're still talking about Suleiman, the same person, because you cannot find the same story in every. It's all over the Quran. And then Suleiman, the same guy who have a flying carpet, Allah, he taught him the language of the birds. Read. And Solomon was David higher, and he said, "O mankind, lo, we have been taught the language of the birds." Wonderful. Question: why Allah taught him the language of the birds? What is that? I mean, what about teaching Muhammad how to read Arabic? Allah, he can teach Suleiman the language of the birds, but he could not teach Muhammad how to read his name. And then,
yeah, because Muhammad didn't write the Quran himself, did he?
It doesn't matter, but I'm saying here, what the point? So, why Allah teaching Suleiman the language of the birds? What is that for? And then, I mean, this God, he have a lot of time. And as you see, everybody have miracles except Muhammad. So I taught him the language of the birds, and then we gave him all the abundance of things. Okay, and then Suleiman gathered his army, which is from the genie and human and birds. Have you ever heard of a king? He have army like this, Satan's, human and birds. Did you watch the movie the Lord of the Ring?
Yes.
This is the Lord of the Ring. And then he continued, and then when he arrived to the valley of the ants, one of the ants, she said to the other ants, hide, otherwise Suleiman will crush you. Be honest with me, I don't know what's your name. Isn't it this is a story for kids?
Yeah, I mean, There's a lot of.
How old are you, my friend?
I'm 30.
Okay. So what do you think in the age of 30, listening to this? He arrived to the valley of the ants, and one of the ants, she said, hide, otherwise, I mean, this is God, the one who created the galaxy. What the heck is this? And what we get from this, and what the point? Suleiman, he can crush an ant? Is that how majesty he is? And then, look, and Suleiman, he smiled, laughing at her speech, but ants are deaf. They don't talk. They are deaf. They are mute. Ants communicate by vibration and chemical only. And the only way to hear what they doing is vibration, which means it's not really a language. Like there's simple code, food, danger, etc. Simple code. So the guy here, the Quran says he laughed at her speech, which means he heard the speech. And the Quran says that we taught him the language of the birds. So how Allah taught him the language of the birds, and now he understands the language of the ants?
Not just all living creatures like
No,
learn how to.
it says we showed you already. If you forgot, we taught him the language of the birds. Verse number 16. And Suleiman was David higher. He said, "O mankind, we have been taught the language of the birds." Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay. We go 2 verses after. Suddenly he's listening and is smiling at the speech of the ant.
Right. It doesn't say he ever got that. It just skips right to it.
So I mean, what this is for? This is, and then he, the ant, she spoke and he questioned her. If you read the interpretation, he would die laughing. And then he thought among the birds and said, "How is it I see not the hoopoe a long distance?" Here we go. One of the birds is missing. He have an army of birds. I mean, what kind of a king? This is a cartoon for kids. If you don't give me excuse, I will punish him. And then the bird, he came back and he told him, I was looking for a woman. She have no hair in her legs, and I found her, and she have a great throne. And then I found that her people, they worship the sun, and Satan, he decorate things for them. And then guess what? Have you ever heard of Afrit?
Afrit, is it a queen?
No, Afrit. Afrit is a genie. He's a genie, but he is bald.
Is he the one that supposedly gets the throne in like a second or something?
Right. He is so fast. He is the fastest Afrit ever. So this is why they call him Afrit. The genie is a normal shaitan. Afrit is a so fast shaitan. So Suleiman, he said, look, Suleiman is a thief. Suleiman, he want the throne of this woman. So he said, oh people, bring me the throne of this woman. Like, why you want to take her throne? Are you a thief or you are a prophet of Allah? Well, prophet of Allah is a thief. And then Afrit, the guy, he liked the throne. Imagine, they speak about Islam, that it's a religion of dignity and stealing is haram. And then suddenly the prophet of Allah says, bring me her throne. Like, this is her throne. Why you want to steal the furniture of somebody else? Thief. And then he said, oh chief, which one of you can bring me the throne before they come to me, surrendering themselves in obedience? Afraid.
This is Solomon.
Huh?
Correct? This is Solomon speaking, correct?
Yes, the same guy, but the story is all over the place. So, and Afrit, he is so fast from the jinn, he said, I'll bring it to you before you raise from your place.
Is not jinns, they're not just demons? I mean, they seem similar, no?
Muslims, you as a Muslim, you don't believe in demons is something different. Demons are evil spirit. Afrit is a physical, it's a shaitan. Afrit is a shaitan in Islam.
Is it okay? Yeah, that's one thing I never understood either. Is
I can find you even how Afrit he look like from the imagination of Muslims. Always they made them look as Asian, because Muslims are racist.
Yeah.
So they make them Asian. Afrit is always an Asian, and he is bald. Let me show you an image of Afrit.
Does it not? Is Solomon is in the Bible too, right?
Yeah, but this is not the case. We are not we're talking about in the Bible. We're talking about the fictions and the stupidity, and this is why I'm showing you that this.
I'm just asking, does it not mention any of this at all? Like
No, no,
anything that
no, no,
similar?
no. That's false. We don't have such a story. You know, those are stupid stories. Even you know, I mean, even kids they will not believe in them. Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause
Uh, let us see. I'm trying to find you the Afrit so you can
a picture.
see Afrit how you look like. There's many Islamic movies, but we don't want to play a movie, so we don't have a copyright strike.
He's gonna disassemble your computer and take it to the wherever.
Yeah,
You have to be careful.
yeah. Let us see Afrit.
So, does one thing that I have a question? The shaitan has children according to the Quran, right? I remember reading that.
Yeah.
And I remember asking, I said, does the shaitan have a wife, like a female? And they told me no. And I said,
I found how the Afrit look like. Here we go. This is how the Afrit look like. Let me show you. This is from an old movie. You know. This is the Afrit. He appeared to the man, and he asked him, "Shubbaik, lubbaik, you know, your servant between your hand." And you know, so he look Asian, and he have a very weird look too in the same for eyebrows and the face, and he's always naked, and he is so big in the body, and he can go inside the candle. This is the Afrit. This is what the Quran teach. Afrit.
why did that's
We have one in the
weird.
White House.
So they basically think that he's pretty much, he looks like a human, but we just can't see him.
Yeah, he appear like, you know, but he is huge. He's so powerful. He's so fast. He can go invisible. He can go through walls. He can go, as you see, he can go all the way to Yemen, and he can come back before even Suleiman he stood up. This is how fast he is. Yeah.
You don't, certain things, man, we don't learn. We don't, you know, they don't really.
So now, after all of this, what do you think? I mean, is still you have a, you need to think?
I mean, the Quran itself, I don't see, like, the story sounds ridiculous with Solomon and everything, but the reason why is because I can just tell myself, well, anything is possible for God, right? Like, as crazy as it sounds for me that this man is doing all
What possible
this.
for God? This is God now. This is Afrit and
No, I'm saying for if God was to bestow, you know, the ability to do anything for someone, even give them a ring that can control devils or demons or whatever, I can say yes, you know, God can do that. So as ridiculous as it does sound to me, I would never put anything past what God can do, you know, even with the leaf on earth. Like this leaf can destroy the world if God willed. Like we can't question anything. But the one thing in for the Quran is I just want clear cut, like a big contradiction, like somewhere where it says
my friend. I
where
mean, listen. I mean, after all what you heard, still you are asking me for contradiction. I think you're wasting my time.
man, it's just, I mean,
No, let's be honest. I mean, what contradiction? You are the one who mentioned to me that I showed already contradiction about the order of a creation. So what contradiction? Everything is contradiction. I mean, how you say that Shaitan is the enemy of Allah, and then Shaitan he worked for his prophet? How you say Shaitan wanna mislead you, and then we have full control of Shaitan, and they work for Sulaiman? How we say that the enemy of the prophet are shayateen, and then we find that Sulaiman he is a friend with the shaitans, and then even they make him rich? What is that? And then we find the story that even Shaitan later he sleep with the wives of Sulaiman. He took his ring, he took his look, he took his kingdom, he became the king. Sulaiman he became a potter man. He lost his house, his kingdom. Then he went to help somebody carrying the fish, and then the guy he gave him in return 2 fishes, And then when he went home, he opened the fish, he found his ring, and Suleiman became the king. So my friend, you are 30 years old. I don't want to waste your
This is
time. I don't want to waste your time, neither my time. If this is all for you is acceptable, I cannot really continue talking to you. Because then I will be wasting my time. I mean, this is not acceptable for a kid.
I mean, no, not not acceptable. Like I said, but anything is possible for God. You
Okay.
can't.
No, I'm not going to waste my time. Anything is possible for God. This is God now. And anyone, I can write now, I can make any story, and then people, they will say to me, anything is possible by God. Thank you very much. Don't waste my time. Anything is possible for God. Oh, okay. It's possible for God not to remember what he created, how he created. It's possible for God to make mistakes, to say that the sperm coming from the backbone, and the ribs have a sperm, and women have a sperm. It's possible for God, yeah. Hello? Hello? My friend, we have an echo. Hello? Who's talking? Fakira? Let us see different. All right. Okay, let us see different one. We are calling different person. Let us see. Hello? There we go. This is Fakira. Fakira, right away, he called and he said the F word. Even in 2 seconds. Son of Muta. From their fruits you shall know them. All right. I know. I mean, if somebody after all of this, he says to me, Allah, he is God, is possible for him. Okay, so why are you calling me? So then it's possible for God to be stupid. It's possible for God to say contradiction. It's possible for God to say stupid things, to say lies. It's nothing. When we say nothing is impossible for God, that is not for a mockery, my friend. What does this have to do with God? Flying carpet, the ant speaking to Solomon. Solomon, he been taught the language of the birds. Hail coming from mountains in heaven. The earth is a flat. And then he says to me, well, nothing is impossible for God. That is a good one. Do we have any real Muhammadan here? How can you reach your message to people who speak French? Very easy. Just download my video, add subtitle in French. Do it. Download my video, and you can cut them short, like short ideas. Add subtitle in any language you want, you speak, and translate, and let people learn and listen. Do we have any Muhammadan? Anyone? Afrit? I mean, who in the world want to believe in such a Afrit? Genie in the ball. This is what Afrit is. And it's mentioned in the Quran, not even once. I mean, many. I mean, this stupid Muhammad, he said, Afrit. This is why Muslims are superstition. Like a Muslim, he cannot even go to the bathroom without fear, because Afrit will play with his anus. When he go to the bathroom, he have to say a certain prayer. Otherwise, Shaitan, he will play in his anus. Not only that will play, he will go inside his bowels, and he will block it, and he will put his fingers there, and his tongue, and his penis. There's a video in YouTube. I don't know if you saw it before. Depend to, I mean, how long you come here. Let me see if, you know, I will find it for you. The sheikh, he explained how if you don't pray before you enter the bathroom with certain leg, you cannot pray just pray. You have to enter with your left foot. So if you don't enter with your that foot and make the prayer, here we go. This is the video. You can search for it. Search for this. I'm not going to play the video. Muslim pray, Shaitan fart and run. True story. In the video, this guy, he says, if you don't say the prayer, the Prophet of Allah, he said, you enter the bathroom, you think you are going to stay there for a minute, for two, and then you stay there for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Why? Because Shaitan, he play with your bowels. But if you say the prayer, you become invisible. Invisible. I wanted to practice this prayer before I enter the bank. I mean, maybe I can be invisible in the bank. Like I go to the cashier, I take all the money there, I get out. You know, you will become invisible because you made a prayer. And look, just to show you how Muslims are really proud of their religion. A Muslim is not upset from all what we are saying. He is worried where Jesus says, I am God, worship me. Shaitan round himself around the penis of the man is not a problem for a Muslim. Doing his wife or his mother, not a problem for the Muslim. But the Muslim is worried where Jesus says in the Bible, I am Lord, worship me. Can you show me? Hey, Abdul, your prophet, he have sex with animals, he beat Muslims, he rape, he kill. And here, guys, you need to notice that we argue with Muslims about what? About Jesus being God. This is how good Jesus is. Did you notice? When we debate about Jesus, if he is God or not, that is telling you how good is Jesus, to the point, is he God? When we talk about Muhammad, we talk about a thief, a rapist, a child molester. He go to his own son, he flirt with the wife. And then he take the wife. And then he F the wife without marrying her. When Zainab, she said to Muhammad, where is the witnesses, man? There's no marriage in Islam without witnesses. He said, Allah and Jibreel is my witnesses. Take off your panty. So do you see Christians who we have? We have Jesus. Even the Muslims, when they ask us, they don't ask us if Jesus is a good man or not, if he is wonderful or not, if he is holy or not. They ask you, did he say I'm God? Did you notice? That is telling you what we are debating about. The good God Jesus and the faith in Muhammad. So how in the world even that can be a place of a debate? Jesus is so good to the point he is alive. You see, this is the good of Jesus. Because if Jesus is like us, he should be dead. The Bible says the wage of sin is death. This is why the Messiah is alive. We have the good God, you have the dead Muhammad, and you are asking me where Jesus says I'm God. He is in heaven right now. God, he goes where he belongs. Men like me and you go in the grave. Aren't you even ashamed of the question? Keep busy about shaitan will play with your anus when you go in the bathroom. Just focus in the Buddha of Islam. Buddha, Muhammad the Buddha. Prophet Buddha, Muhammad, he said, if you enter the bathroom without saying this prayer, Satan will pray with your anus. And now the Muslims is so worried about his anus. I mean, you see, Islamic religion is a religion of terror. Even the bathroom is a place of terror. Do you know that a Muslim, it's haram for him to sleep in his stomach? Because if he do, Shaitan will if him. Do you know that a Muslim, when he die, they push a piece of cotton, very hard piece of cotton, in his anus? Because according to them, when they go in the grave, Shaitan with 99 heads will go inside his anus. Do you know that when a Muslim, he bend over to pray, Shaitan, he take hair from the anus? I mean, this guy Muhammad, all his drama about anus, peace be upon him. Anus, 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 anus. Isn't it obvious this guy is just terrified in them and they are just like a bunch of kids, naive, savage, stupid people, ignorant? How a human being can accept a prophet saying to him, Shaitan, take hair from your anus when you bend over? I mean, imagine we have somebody making a speech. And there's like 10,000 people in front of him, saying to them, I'm Prophet of Allah, please be careful. When you pray, Satan, take hair from your anus, takbir. And look, here we go, this is the hadith. فيض القدير شرح الجامع الصغير المناوي, volume number 2, page number 446. Translate to English. Indeed, the devil come to one of you while he is praying, and he takes hair from his anus, and he stretch it, and then like he will keep doing that until he sees heart. You see, the translation is not, accurate. And he hear it, he see it, and he hear it, passing wind. This is prophet of God. And he will not leave you until he hear it and see it. And the prophet, he says to them, if you do that, if that happened to you, Shaitan take care from your anus, and you think you fart, don't leave until you smell it, until you make everybody smell it. This is the religion they want to import to the world in 2022. Shaitan take hair from your anus. I want a Muslim to open his camera and show me if he have hair in his anus, because if Shaitan, he take every day at least 5 hair, man, I mean, you will be bald there. Why a Muslim, he don't put a slow motion camera and record his anus when he pray? Prove it to us. Because if this is true, we should see, we should not see Shaitan for sure. Don't worry. We won't ask you to show us Shaitan. But we will see the hair straight out because Shaitan is putting it. And then we will see the hair is coming totally out. And then they will see you saying, ouch! I mean, how in the world Shaitan take hair from your anus and you don't feel it? You just fart? Taking hair from the anus and you feel nothing? Why? You have a leather of alligator in that area? I mean, if somebody touch the hair of your head, you will feel it. I mean, this is a private part. This is a very sensitive area. If you take hair, man, you will be badly in pain. This is Islam. Do we have any Muhammadan want to say anything? Let us see. I'm afraid, you know, I just dropped my pen. I'm afraid to grab it from the floor. Shaitan will do something. Look what this guy is saying. You know, the Muslims, they think they save themselves by saying those statements. Look at this. We take our religion from the Quran only. False. The Quran says, أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول أطيعوا الرسول وأطيعوا الله ومن أطاع الرسول فقد أطاع الله. The one who obeyed the messenger of Allah, he obeyed Allah. So you have to take the command of Allah Prophet and whatever he say. So stop lying saying, we take it only from the Quran. Secondly, call me and let us see what you take from the Quran or not, because the Quran says you do mut'ah. Do you do mut'ah? I'm waiting for your answer, just to show you the hypocrisy. The Quran says in chapter 4:24, you can do mut'ah. You can rent a woman for 1 day, 1 hour, 2 hours to F her. And you said, we take our command from the Quran only. So do you do mut'ah? Mr. Zucchini. Because this is what kusa mean. Kusa means zucchini. Are you there, Mr. Zucchini? Do you take the command of mut'ah seriously or not? This is Quran. It is permissible in the time of war. Well, you are in war all the time. Secondly, show me where in the Quran. You see, just to show you how stupid you are. You just said it is permissible in the wartime. Where in the Quran it says this is in the time of war? You see, Muslims, they have a low IQ. He just said he take it only from the Quran. Okay, show me in the Quran it says only in the time of war. Go ahead. People are laughing at you. You just said we take only our command from the Quran. So did the Quran says in the time of war you do that? Now what you will say? You will say Hadith says. See how hypocrite you are? Guys, do you see the hypocrisy? A second ago he don't want the Hadith. A second after he's trying to use the Hadith. Potato. And guess what? Even in the Hadith it doesn't say in the case of war. Because your prophet and the caliphate, they did mut'ah even when they were in town. And I can show you tons of reference. Low IQ, no intelligence, kusa. I mean, you call yourself kusa for a reason, zucchini. Nobody knows which the head, which the bum. Kusa. Do we have any brave Muhammadan? Anyone? Muslims, be careful. You are talking to Christian Prince. I'm not Fakira. Let us see. Let us hope that this is not Fakira. Why Jesus says, why you call me good? Yeah, he's asking him, why you call me good? Which means he's calling him God, because only God is good. So he's asking him, why you call me God? Hello? This is Fakira. Hello? Hello? Speak louder, I don't hear you, no. Okay, I hear you better now. Go ahead, what do you want to say to us?
Oh, no, I was just watching the channel. Just have some questions regarding the Bible.
You're a Muslim?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, you have a questions about the Bible?
Yeah, I just want to understand the Christian's perspective of
Okay.
what the Bible is. That's all.
Did your prophet understand the Christian perspective, or only, or like all of you Muslims don't understand it?
Nah, to be honest, I'm not sure, man. I'm just want to get your understanding and.
No, I know. I'm just having
a.
I'm just having a conversation, trying to understand where you stand. So I'm asking you. You said you want to understand the Christian perspective. So I'm asking you,
Yes,
do your prophet himself understand what Christianity is?
I would assume so. Yeah, I would assume so.
No, because your prophet, he claimed that the Trinity is Jesus and Mary and Allah.
That's the first time hearing of that, to be honest.
Sorry?
That's my first time hearing about that. I'm not sure about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, if Allah is God, then shouldn't this God, he knew at least what the Christians believe?
Yeah, of course, he would know.
Okay.
As a God,
so
should know.
You know, like you know, I mean, a Muslim kid, he knew now that the Christian, they believe in the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Correct?
That's what I don't understand, to be honest, because I've got lots of
no
Christian
problem.
friends.
But I'm saying,
Yeah,
I mean, the basic. So regardless if you understand it or not, I'm saying even a Muslim kid, he knew that the Christians believe that God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. Correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how Allah he think that we believe that God, Allah, God, Mary, God, their son, like Allah, he married from Mary. They have a baby. His name is Isa.
Yeah, God said He put the soul into Mary, and
No.
Prophet Isa.
How Allah he got a wrong understanding of Christianity when none of us believe in that?
What does Allah say about Christianity in the Quran? Because
well, as an example, in chapter of Al-Ma'idah, Allah he said, Al-Ma'idah 116, Allah he said to Isa, did you say to them to worship me and my mother instead of Allah? So the Quran confirmed that the Christians, they worship Allah and Mary, and you will see nowhere in the Quran is mentioning the Holy Spirit. But no Christians believe that Mary, she is divine. Mary is a lady like everybody, chosen by God, wonderful woman, but she is not divine. So
I mean, God
how such a mistake? How such a mistake can happen? Huh?
I'm not sure about the Christians at that time, because it was.
No, there's no Christian at that time, and there's no Christian after that time. At the same time, let us say there's some Christians at that time, they believe in such a thing, but the Quran make it all the Christian believe in that. Are you saying to me Allah he never heard of the real Christians? We are the Christians. Anyone else is not. Jehovah's Witnesses are not. Anyone don't believe in the Trinity is not a Christian. This is what Christianity is about.
So Catholic or Orthodox?
Catholic,
or
Orthodox, Protestant, all of them believe Father, Son, Holy Spirit. That's it. There's no.
Okay.
Yeah, one God in three person. So when Allah he claimed to be God, and yet he don't understand a very simple basic in Christianity, then this book is written by an idiot.
Yeah, I'm not an expert in this, so I wouldn't know exactly what Allah's saying. But yeah,
Okay.
I understand.
Let me ask you, why you are a Muslim?
Obviously family, and tried to. I guess when you're born into it, you gotta.
I understand, but I mean, like as a belief, do you believe or you're just born?
Yeah, no, of course I believe. No, I believe.
You believe, okay? You believe in what?
I believe that there should be one God.
What one God mean?
Just an ilah, like a God.
No, I'm confused with this word. I mean, one God. What? There's gods about numbers.
No, yeah, like monotheism.
Why it's monotheism? What if there is God? There's million God. Is that you who decide how many gods there is?
No, I personally that wouldn't make sense to me. There should be.
Why? Why doesn't make? How it makes sense that for you there's one God? Remember, I believe in one God too, but this is not the question.
Yeah.
But why it makes sense to believe in one God doesn't make sense to believe in a million God?
Because the meaning itself in God, you believe that they are the creator of everything.
Wonderful. So when we say God, when we speak about monotheism, we have one creator, correct?
Yeah, correct.
So how the Quran says Allah is the best of the creators?
That I'm not sure what that meaning means, but creators could mean, obviously as we're humans and we create things as well.
No.
Allah is saying,
no.
say we make a little robot that looks like a fly. I think God says,
no,
my
friend.
You can't make anything like that.
My friend. The Quran, decide, give a decision or give us a definition. Let's say what the creation is. So the Quran says, why you worship those who cannot even create anything, and if a fly steal from them, they cannot even grab it back. Chapter 22, verse number 73, it says, O mankind, a similitude is coined, so pay ye heed to it. Lo, those whom you call beside Allah will never create a fly. This is what the create is. Creation is about creating a life, not creating a car. This is not a creation. Creation, when you create something, have no life, and you give it life. Like when Allah he breathed into the mud, that is a creation, not making the mud, because I can make mud too.
I know what you're saying. I don't. What's the tafsir on that?
You can read the tafsir. Tafsir says exactly what I'm saying. That how you worship the one who cannot create even a fly. The verse is so clear. How you call upon those who cannot even create a fly. So the one we call him a creator is only the one who can create a fly. And when Allah he says in the Quran that Allah he created, he made the nutfa into piece, the blood, which is mistake, which is wrong, and then the dead blood become a little lump, and the flesh, and then we made the little lump into a flesh, and then he continued at the end. He says, so blessed be Allah, the best of the creators. Here you notice something very stupid. Why Allah will say blessed be Allah if he is Allah, and how Allah he said he is the best of the creators if he is the only creator? And if you say to me that this is about Allah comparing himself to those who create a robot, as you said, that would be the most stupid.
Or maybe he's using that as an example, saying, look, there's no one that can create even a fly.
But that will be a lie.
You know what I mean?
No, that will be a lie. Because when I say I am the best student, when there is no other student except me, I'm lying, I'm exaggerating. If I go to my mother, he say, hey mom, I am #1 in my classroom, and then later my mom she find out that I am the only student in that classroom. That's
Yeah, I
not.
know what you're saying, but this is all like language stuff, little stuff.
No,
It's
my
nothing
friend,
big.
hold on. You see, here we see some. I don't want you to feel I'm insulting you. I'm just telling you what I feel about what you are saying. So
Yeah, no, of course.
this is a form of hypocrisy because isn't it the Quran? All of it is a language. So now it's a language. So when we want, there's only one creator. When we want, it's a language.
I know what you're saying. I know it's no. I'm not saying it's just the language. I'm saying obviously in the Quran, I think most Muslims believe that there's metaphors. There's something you have to take as it
This is
is.
not. That's not a metaphor. When he said, "I am the best of the creators," I am. When I say I'm the best, that means they are good.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but no,
Don't tell
I'm
me
not
I know
sure
what
what
I'm
it is.
saying. You speak English better than me, obviously, right? So when I say I'm the best of, that means the rest are good, but I am better, right?
That is one way to go through it in that
No, there's no
in
other
that
way.
logic, I
When I
guess.
say I'm the best, you speak English, I'm speaking English too. So when I say, and I
Yeah,
read in Arabic, so when I say I am the best, it's mean they are good.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so there's good creators. Allah is the best. How
But
that
what's
can,
the meaning of creators like in this verse?
my friend, the verse says to you, what creator? The creator is the one who can make the sperm transfer into blood, etc. So about creating a human being. So Allah is saying, there's many creators who create a human being. I'm the best. You see, he did not speak here in the subject about making houses or building palaces or making concrete. He's speaking about making babies. So when he added the
Yeah,
end, I am the best of the creators, that means all those creators make babies, but he is the best between them.
yeah. No, I would have to look into that. I don't know. I
Not
don't know
only
what that
that,
means.
not only that. You see, you said to me that monotheism, that about one creator, and then isn't it Jesus he created from the bird, from the mother bird?
I don't know the story. Yeah, I'm not,
What do you
that's
mean?
what
The
it
Quran
says.
says so.
I haven't read the whole Quran, honestly.
Yeah, but you see, the Quran is just a silly book, stupid book. I mean, Allah, we ask the Muslim what is monotheism, they say Allah the creator. Then we find that Jesus is a creator. He created from the mother bird. He made mud, he breathed into it. The Muslim, they say by the will of Allah. That will not change anything. Still he's a creator.
What does Jesus say?
My friend, what Jesus say? Jesus will laugh at this.
No, I'm saying, does Jesus say
Imagine
like
Jesus says, I am the best of the creators. That means there is many
yeah,
Jesus. That means there is many Jesus, and there is many Elohim, and there is many Adonai, and there is, I mean, when God he says, I am the best of gods, that be the most funny, silly, stupid thing ever. Because when you say to me
yeah.
the creator is God, and then I say I'm the best of the creators, that means the Quran saying I'm the best of gods.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the tafsir says on that, so yeah, I'll have to look into that.
My
I
friend,
don't
the
know.
Muslims always they will duct tape. We know the tafsir would duct tape that. And actually, if you read the tafsir, you will find that the one who made this sentence, it was a guy. He was the writer, the scribe of Muhammad. When Muhammad he was reciting this verse, he stopped here. He says, and then we closed the bones with the flesh, and we brought it forth as another creation. Muhammad he stopped here. The guy, his name is Abdullah ibn Sarah. He said, oh, so blessed be Allah, the best of the creators. And you can see that in the interpretation. Even Muslim books, they say it. So the Prophet, he says, write it down there. The guy, he said, what do you mean write it down? I'm the one who said that. The Prophet said, well, it was inspired to me, the same it was, when you receive it. So the guy, he said to him, well, if Muhammad is a prophet, I'm a prophet too. I received the Quran before him. Muhammad, he heard the guy saying it, he liked it, he said to him, add it. And then the guy,
Is that known? Is that in the history? Do we know that?
yeah, this is in the tafsir. This is in the tafsir in your books. And then the guy, he left Islam. The scribe of Muhammad, Abdullah ibn Sarh, he left Islam because he noticed that Muhammad is copying Quran from him. It is him who said that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like our beliefs, like I'll tell you our beliefs, like we believe, you know, the Quran was sent down to the Prophet Muhammad, and it was,
I mean, what
it was
Prophet
like,
Muhammad, man? When your book says the guy Muhammad, he stole it from the guy. Your books, tafsir. I mean, if this is a book written by Christian, I would say Christians, they are okay. I mean, they want to make Muhammad look bad. If this is written by the Jews, I would say the Jews, they want to make Muhammad bad. But this is your books saying the guy, he said, so blessed be Allah, the best of the creators. Muhammad, he said to him, put it there. Abdullah ibn Sarh, he said, prophet. But I am the one who said that. He said to him, it is inspired to me too. Write it there. The guy then he left Islam immediately. And this is the brother of Uthman ibn Affan. This is not anyone. And then Muhammad, he ordered him to be killed anywhere he go, and then he run and he hide in the house of his brother.
yeah, I'm not sure about all these stories, but I'll have to look into that verse and see what our tafsir says.
It will look like whatever I say to you, you says to me. I have to look for it, and you know.
No, because you're telling me tafsir. I don't know by who. I don't know who these people are. But yeah, I'll have to look
Okay,
into it.
what do you mean? What do you mean? I don't know by who? What do not know by? I can show you a reference right now. Do you want to show a reference?
Yeah, that will be good. If you can get a classical Shia tafsir, that'll help.
Shia, or you are not? You are a Shia?
Yeah, yes I am.
Ah, you are a Shia. You know, not too many.
Yeah, no, Lebanese Shia.
You are Lebanese Shia, right?
Yes, yeah, correct.
Okay. Well, now then we have to find your Shia source. Okay, let us see.
And in Lebanon, man, I was in Lebanon not long ago, and lots of harmony between the Shia, the Christians there. It's a good country for all the religions to come together.
Lebanon is a good country for all religions.
Yeah.
My friend, Lebanon, because of the Shia, is screwed up. What are you talking about?
Because of the Shia?
Yeah, because of Hezbollah.
Are you Lebanese?
Because of Hezbollah, and
are you Lebanese?
I will not say who I am, where I'm from.
Oh, okay.
But Hezbollah and Harakat Amal, both they screw Lebanon. You know, they're destroyed. The economy is bad, drugs. Lebanon now is #1 country in the Middle East to import drugs to all the world. You know, and you are telling me it's a beautiful country. You screw it up.
I've got nothing to do with it.
I mean, I'm not saying you. I'm saying the Shia. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let us see what we will show you here. Can you see my screen?
On the Skype or on?
Okay, I will show you. This is from the Shia library. Can you see with me?
I see nothing on my phone.
You don't see the YouTube?
Okay. Let me refresh it maybe. 1 second.
I'm showing you now in Arabic, but I will use Google Translation to translate the page.
Oh, I can read Arabic. Sorry.
Oh, you can read Arabic. Okay. Shia on. Do you see it says Shia Online Library?
Yes.
All right. And this is the reference. And here it says, it's mentioned about the verse. نزلت في عبد الله بن سعيد بن أبي الصرح وكان رسول صلى الله عليه وسلم وآله ذكر فنونا أضربت ذكرها فلما نزلت وخلقنا الإنسان سرعة من طين الآية أملاها رسول الله فعجب عبد الله من تفاصيل خلق الإنسان فقال تبارك الله أحسن الخالقين فقال له رسول الله اكتبها هكذا نزلت فشك عبد الله وقال إن كان محمدا صادقا فلقد أوحي إلي كما أوحي إليه ولئن كان كاذبا لقد قلت كما قال. Do you see it? قال وارتد عن الإسلام. I'll give you a reference. So the guy, he is the one who made this verse and the stupid
Oh, so
Muhammad.
this is well known, like between.
Huh?
This is well known between all the Muslims that this happened.
Yeah, but as you see, the guy is the one who created the verse. That's why it's stupid. Muhammad, he liked it to add it, but by adding it, we are laughing at him now. Because how you say Allah is the only creator, and then you say he is the best of the creators. So he is the one who says, blessed be Allah, the best of the creators. Muhammad, he said to him, put it down in the Quran. Abdullah, it says here, so Abdullah was amazed with the details of a creation of the man as it was revealed to him. And he said, if he was a liar, it was revealed to me as it revealed to him. If he was a liar, I'm not. And he left Islam. And then he apostated from Islam and he joined polytheist. Because now he have a clear proof that Muhammad is a fraud. I mean, he is the one who made the statement. Muhammad, he said to him, add it in the Quran. He like it.
Yeah. God knows. Who knows?
See, whatever I show you, you say to me, God knows, my friend.
I mean, like, what do you think about this? So he.
A fraud, obviously, is a fraud. What do you mean God knows? I mean, this is your books. You see, this is not the Christian library. This is not the Jewish library. This is not the Hindu library. This is your library, and this is your story written by you. Muhammad is copying his scribe, making verses, and he added to the Quran. I mean, do you need more proof? The guy is the one, he is the one who said, blessed be Allah, the best of the creators. Muhammad,
and the Prophet said, write that down.
Yeah, he said to him, put it down. And you said to me, you read Arabic. I showed you in Arabic.
Yeah, right. And he wrote it down.
Okay.
That's all right.
Yeah. It was revealed in Abdullah ibn, it was revealed to him. So he said to himself, well, it was, if Muhammad is a prophet, I'm a prophet too. Because I'm the one who said it first. And imagine that the guy is in the house and Muhammad, he said to him, write it down, write it down. The guy, he said, write down what? He said, write down what you just said. He said, but I am the one who said that. And right away the man, now he discovered that Muhammad is a fraud. He's making up stories. He liked what this guy he said, he added to the story. So this is not the word of Allah.
I know what you're saying, but if it's written down, it's written down. Like we can't.
Yeah, what
we
you
can't
can,
disregard that part.
You can leave Islam. What you can? What do you mean? What we can?
No. If the Prophet said to write that down, it must have been from the Wahy as well.
So Wahy come to everybody. But as you see,
no,
the
it
guy,
must have been what the Wahy says.
But as you see, the guy, he left Islam. What Wahy? The guy, he became an apostate because of that.
Because he didn't believe.
No, because he is the one who said the sentence. What to believe? He was a believer. He was not only he was a believer, my friend. He is a close to Muhammad to the point he is the scribe of Muhammad. Which one? He is the one sitting in his house writing down. So he is very close to Muhammad. You don't bring anyone from the street to write for you. You bring the one close to you, correct?
Yeah, someone that can write, I guess.
Not only someone you can trust.
Someone that believes in you.
Someone you can trust, because he can lie, he can add things, he can take things off. So
yes, of course.
The guy, he said a sentence, Muhammad, he said to him, add it. The guy, he said, Prophet, how I can add it? This is me who said that. And then he said to himself, well, if Muhammad is taking what I am saying, what is revealed to me, making it Quran, then I am a prophet too. And he decided to leave Islam.
But did everyone else around him, everyone else had faith, you know what I mean? Everyone else believed the Prophet at that time.
No. The day Muhammad he died, most of Muslims left Islam. Only the terrorists.
No, at that time when they wrote it down as well. Obviously, the story would have been
most of
the
Muslims.
people around them.
My friend. You see, I don't know. People they call and it sounds like they don't want to listen. They just want to talk to themselves. You are talking to yourself. You are telling me everybody believe. Even if everybody believe, and the guy Muhammad, he copied the guy verses. How this is the book of Allah? If you call me right now and you say to me, praise be to Susu, the best of Dudu, and then I take what you just said and I put it in my holy book, claiming that my God spoke to me as a prophet, and he said to me, blessed be Susu, the best of Dudu. But you are the one who said that.
But if you are a believer in God, then you
My
would
friend,
say,
the guy is not a believer.
say
No,
you say God is the greatest.
no. You know,
God.
okay, just take it. I'm just wasting my time. Look at this. I mean, can you believe it? We showed him the proof how stupid this Quran is, and then he says to me, well, he's a believer. What believer? He left Islam. Because of this, he left Islam. He noticed that Muhammad is a fraud. Muhammad is making a forgery. He's forging Quran. The guy is the one who made the statement. Muhammad, he put it in the Quran. Not only this, even he take it from Umar al-Khattab. Hello?
Yes, hello. Hey, so I just had a question. You were right to hang up on me. Man, it's very hard to let go, but I think I am ready to just let go of this completely. And honestly, you're the one that has done that. Where can we go listening to YouTube? You don't talk about the Bible part of things a lot. What are the best sources to go to if we have questions about that?
Well, did you decide to leave Islam now after listening?
Yeah, and I went back and I watched the video that I was talking about where you mentioned the creation of Earth and the universe and how one chapter gets it wrong.
Okay.
I went in and found it myself. That is convincing as hell to me. I mean, there's no.
All right. Well, my friend, take your time. Start reading like I advise you to start reading from the book of John by yourself, and then if you have a questions, call me when I'm live. I will be happy to help you.
Yeah, I did start reading it, and I had a question.
All right.
One thing that I didn't understand.
But can you confirm that Muhammad is a false prophet and he is satanic? Can you say that?
From what I've read, he's definitely not somebody I want to follow. Some of the things that he, especially about like the part where it says that in the hadiths that he was controlled by demons at one point or something, the shaitan, or
yeah,
where he was imagining he was having sex.
So he's satanic.
Or something.
So we agree he is satanic.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't feel comfortable following this type of teaching.
What is the question you have to me about the Bible? Go ahead.
One question was a part where Jesus turns to his followers and he says, I don't remember exactly where this was, but a lot of the people following him at the time turned away when he said this. He told them that his followers must eat, and I could be saying this wrong, eat from his flesh and drink from his blood. And then
who told you that his followers, they left him when he said that?
Not his disciples, but the people where he was.
Who said that to you?
I read it in the
where?
The New Testament. I downloaded an app. I didn't save it.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you not recall?
Can you show me? No, because you see, I'm learning from you. I mean, when Jesus he said that, my friend, this is in the end of the mission of Jesus. You know, this is the end when Jesus was like, let's say, saying goodbye. This is why he said to them, do this to remember me. You know, because he knew soon he will be arrested, soon he will be crucified. So those stories is made up. And at the same time, when Jesus he said, "This is my blood," we did not drink the blood of Jesus. Did you see Christians drinking blood?
No, of course not.
Okay, so what we're drinking juice, a drink, right?
Right.
Okay, so what the problem with that? Why people will leave?
If I am sitting
at the table, and I have a bread, and he said, "This is my body will be broken for you," and he broke the bread, and this is my blood will be shed for you. How that will make people leave?
I have to find the part, and then I'll come back on live with you
No
one day
problem. No problem. But
and
my
show you
friend,
what I was
but
talking
my
about.
friend, you have a wrong understanding, because first of all, there's nothing wrong with that. Secondly, this is when Jesus, he is preparing them to know that soon he is departing. Soon he will be in the cross. So remember this to for what I did. And this is again additional proof that Jesus, he knew the future. So when he's speaking about his body will be broken for you, which means his flesh, which means death. And when he spoke about his blood, he knew he is going to be crucified. And then you need to ask yourself how Jesus knew the future. He knew tomorrow. And there's no
Right.
way anyone will see that as a reason to leave. Like Jesus, he have 12 disciples, correct?
Correct.
All right.
His disciples stayed. It was the people of the village he was at that it says when they heard that, they turned away.
Yeah. Well,
I have to find it.
Well, you can go. I mean, you can go and search, but I think I know what you are talking about. You are talking about John chapter, I think chapter 6 or 7. But this is your understanding, my friend.
Okay, I'm actually in John. I'm still in that chapter 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, and then just the whole like the Trinity thing. Because man, sometimes I hear you say, I've heard you say in the past, we don't worship Jesus the man, we worship Jesus the Spirit.
No, we don't. I never said that. We worship Jesus the God, because God and Jesus is God. So, but we don't worship the flesh of the man. We worship God in the flesh, because God is exist before the flesh is exist, which means Jesus was exist before he was born in the flesh of man. So Jesus said, before Abraham I am, which means I was. So Jesus' existence have nothing to do with the day of his birth, which means the day of the flesh to come to be exist.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just just trying to grasp him being one with the Father and separate, because I mean, I'm sure as you know, he goes to the top of a mountain and then he prays to his Father.
Yeah.
And that's just
yeah.
But I mean,
and you know, and the verse you are talking about in John about people leaving, those are not the disciple. People get disappointed why he is saying that, but this is not the disciple. The disciple never left Jesus.
No, they stayed. I remember that, but I think they questioned after that. They just asked him like basically what he meant by that.
No, you see, actually, this is not because he said something bad, but because they were disappointed. He sound like he give up. He's leaving us. He don't want to stay with us. So, but then when the disciple, they explain to them, well, what about when you see him, the man who is going to die is being resurrected? Because he is God, and then he is saying he is going to die. So how you are God and you are going to die? But this is not because he said something bad, but because how he is claiming to be what he claimed to be, and then he is saying his blood will be shed and his body will be broken. That's all. But not because he said something bad. And not the disciple.
One thing I learned from reading the Bible myself, which if anybody's listening, is one thing that us Muslims were told, a question that is asked towards Christians that I kind of learned myself from reading the Bible. We're always asked, if Jesus is God, why couldn't he save himself? But when you read the Bible,
this is what
you
he claimed. This is what he claimed.
He wasn't trying to get away. He knew what was going to happen, and even told his disciples not to intervene, like to basically that it's going to happen. And that doesn't sound like somebody who couldn't escape. I mean, he knew what was going to happen.
If I know that I will be killed tomorrow, I know when they are coming, I know what will happen, I know exactly who will deny me, then I can leave. Same time, this is a great example of how people, they have expectation, and if you don't if you are not up to their expectation, they will leave, even those who claim to be believers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Jesus, he
That's
proved that all of this doesn't make any difference. For the, for some people, they say, well, he is claiming to be God, and now he's talking about his blood will be shed, and he will be killed. So how he's God? But then the disciples, they told him, well, okay, what about when you see him being resurrected? What about when you see him going up to heaven? Are you going to believe? So, the one who, a true believer, he stay, and the one, but nobody really from his disciple left. And
no.
it's not the people who heard him, the people, they heard that from the disciples.
They heard that from the disciples.
Yeah, because you said to me that when the people heard him,
They turned away.
yeah, no, they did not hear him because Jesus did not do that in front of the people. He did it only to his disciples.
Oh, he said it to them, is what you're saying.
Well, when Jesus he did that bread breaking and blood, did he did it in front of thousands of people or only some?
It wasn't. If I find it, I'm definitely gonna call back. It wasn't that. It wasn't when he was at the table
No,
breaking.
I know.
remember.
This is John 50. You can go on 54, 53, 56, 57, 59, etc. So when Jesus he spoke to his disciple.
Mhm.
He did not speak to thousands of people.
Okay. Okay. Well, maybe I was mistaken. I have to find it again.
Yeah.
That and then there's So
And
just
even if there is some other Jews are located, still obviously, even if you go there, you will see the Jews, they were there, and those Jews, they left because they were not convinced.
of Jesus,
Yeah.
of just the message he was
No,
trying
if you
to.
go, as an example, if you go, let me open it. Hold on. All right. So if you go to John 6, let me go up. Yeah, John 6.
Chapters.
If you go from verse number 52 or before, you will see that the Jews, they start discussing between them, and they were saying, how can he give us his body to eat? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So this is about their wrong understanding for what he meant. When the fact he is talking about, even he is, he's having a bread, he's not having, he's not cutting his body and give it to them, right? So it's
Right.
symbolic, and obviously still they don't understand. They are saying how he can give us his body to, to eat. And then the Messiah, he said to them, you have to eat from the flesh of the Son of Man, and you have to drink from his blood. So for them, they could not understand that what he's talking about. They are going to drink his blood, and we are going to eat his body, And then you will see later it says, the Father who sent me, and I live by the Father. I'm like, and in different verses it says, me and the Father is one. And the one who eat my flesh, he is going to live by me. This is the bread which is coming from the sky. He's talking about himself. He's not talking about real bread. So the Jews are the one who did not understand. So when they say to you, when the Bible says many they left, they are not really true believers. Those are still Jews.
Mm-hmm.
And even in verse number 59, it says to you where he did that, say that, But I thought you are talking about the last, not just the sentence, the actual. They call it in English the Last Supper. I don't know what they call it in English.
I think it's not that one though.
In Arabic,
I'll find.
in Arabic we call it al-asha al-surri. I thought you are talking about that. Yeah, and then if you go to verse number 60, the disciple, they were saying, who is going?
Oh, this is it.
Who can handle such a teaching?
Yeah, this is it. So, yep, right before that, verse 56, he says, well, before that, so I'm going to go to 53. So the same chapter you're on, but verse 53.
All right.
He says, Then Jesus said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, except ye eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, ye have no life in you. Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I in him. Then it goes on to say, this is the part that I was talking about. Let me see.
Yeah.
It says,
Why, why you think this is bad? I mean, what is the bad about it?
well, it's just I do remember another part where he says they ask him, his disciples ask him, why do you speak in parables? And he says it's for, because not everyone's, I think it's for basically those really seeking the truth to, like if you want to decide, like figure out what I'm talking about, that in your heart says that you're really seeking the truth. Where if I just lightly give it to everybody in plain language where they can understand and they still turn away, I mean, I don't know, but like I was saying, this is the part he
Yeah,
goes.
you see. The story is very simple. Jesus, he speak at a very high language, metaphorical language, and even if in the beginning people don't understand, later they will understand. As an example, even the disciple themselves, who they are the close one, when Jesus he said, you can destroy this temple, when he said that to the Jews, you can destroy this temple and I can rebuild it in 3 days. The disciple at that moment, they did not understand that Jesus speaking about his flesh. They thought he's talking about the temple of Solomon.
Right.
So even his close disciple, they could not understand, because not because his language is not right, but because there is things will happen later will make them understand what he is saying. So those who were confused because simply the story is not over yet, and later you will find out what he meant.
Yeah, and verse, that same one, coming to me except where it is. So verse, this is what I was talking about. Verse 67 or verse 66.
If you go actually to 67, you will see he said to them, "Do you want to go also to go away?" Asking his
because
disciples.
66 says that from that time many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him.
Yeah, but you say here, those are not really. I mean, those are not really. I mean, when we say disciple,
Follower.
I mean, yeah, because at that time, whoever walk with him, follow him, he is a disciple. He's learning,
Right.
But those are
But
not
the 12.
really. But those are not the 12 disciples. This is why you see in verse number 67 says, "Then Jesus said to the 12, Do you want to go away? But Simon Peter answered him, Lord, to whom shall we go? You have the words of the eternal life. Also we have to come to believe and to know that you are Christ, the Son of the living God." Jesus answered him, says, "Didn't I choose you, the 12, and the one of you is the devil?" So you see here, Jesus, he knew even that between his 12, there's one of them is not really a disciple, really, even though he chose them, but he chose even one of them, he is the devil. But here, when we speak about this, we will find that the disciple of Jesus, they never left Jesus. The disciple, when the Bible speaks about disciple, anyone from the crowd, like I was a student of somebody, learning from somebody. So I'm a disciple because I listen to him, I learn from him. And then I decide not to follow this person, not to listen to him. But who said that I was one of his disciples? I was a disciple, not he chose me.
Right. Yeah.
So those are the crowd, many crowd, thousands of people. They come and listen to Jesus. Some they like what he say, some they don't like what he say. But as you see, Jesus, he said to the 12, not to one, right?
Right. To the 12 after the others.
Yeah. So the one who left is not the 12. Those are not really all the Christian understand very well that the disciple, when we say disciple, we speak about the 12 disciples, the rest are not.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Does the 12 disciples also include the one that betrayed him
Include the
before?
one who, this is what it says in front of you. In the last verse here it says, Jesus said to them, didn't I choose you, the 12, and the one of you is a devil? He spoke of Judas. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Judas the
so
devil.
he's speaking specifically. This is why when you said to me that disciple they left him, I said no, that's not true.
Yeah. The 12 stayed.
Yeah.
They told him
when Jesus he came to Jerusalem, if you remember, we have like in English they call it the Palm Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Jesus he entered Jerusalem, there was thousands of people welcoming him. But then later,
Yeah.
the thousands, the same maybe the same thousands of people who welcomed him, they were shouting, saying, "Kill him! Kill him! His blood on our hand and our children's hands." Correct?
Correct.
So there is some change in the tone because the monks, the rabbis, they start driving the crowd against him. For they were waiting for a Messiah who will do revolution. He will fight the Roman. He will free them from the occupation. He will build the temple of Solomon. This is the Messiah they are waiting for, not the Messiah who is saying love your enemy.
Yeah.
So
I remember
the one
saying,
they believe in his miracles, and then they did not believe because like the rabbis, they start making conspiracy against him. This is why they ask him in the front of the Roman, should we pay tax to Caesar? And then he asked them, what the coin you have in your pocket? And then he said, give to Caesar what to Caesar, which means he showed them that they are hypocrite. And here you see that there's a kind of like a war under the carpet between the rabbis and the Messiah. They don't dare to say it loudly. They were trying to make him go in trouble to get rid of him. As anyone, they can do that to him. And then even when they want to take him to the cross, even the Roman governor, he could not find a reason. He said, what he did? Nothing. I wash my hands from his blood. But what you said is about the disciple leaving him. This is absolutely not true.
Right. Yeah, it was the other. No, I knew it wasn't the 12. It was the mass of people that were following him from wherever he was when he said that, and then a lot of them turned away. Because I think immediately after, I could be mistaken, he goes on a boat and they follow him.
Yeah, well,
the
I mean, the story is mentioned in, like depend in the what is mentioned, but as you see, when people they leave because they misunderstood, not because he did something bad.
Yeah.
When Jesus he said, "This is my blood," those people they were what he's talking about, what my blood and what my flesh. How, like, what does that mean? How we can eat his blood? If actually even the verses themselves they explain themselves.
Okay. And
when he said, he who eat my flesh and drink my blood abides in me, and I in him. As the living Father sent me, and I live because of the Father, so he who feeds on me will live because of me. This is a very high language, and those people they could not understand how we will eat his flesh and how we will drink his blood and what this person is talking about. So they felt like, let us say, it's not convincing. I mean, it's too much to understand, too much like big words, but we don't see any meaning of them. Living the
Yeah.
Father sent me, and I live because of the Father. And you eat my blood and my flesh, and because you eat my blood and my flesh, and the one in this bread which come down from heaven, not as your father ate the manna and are dead, he who eats the bread will live forever.
I kind of get it. He's
Yeah,
not as your father's ate,
yeah. You
meaning
see, if I
I'm
am
not talking about physically eating.
my friend, if I'm listening to Jesus at that time, me myself, I will not understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because still Jesus is not crucified, and Jesus did not is not resurrected, and the stories have details later. It's like, and this, when you watch a movie and then they show you, let us say, a scene. Sometimes, like in the movie, they show you a scene in the what is the in the end, they show it in the beginning, or what is in the middle, they show it in the beginning of the movie. And
Right.
like, just to make it more, let us say, attractive for you. But here, if I am a person watching and listening, and he is saying those statements, I will not understand what he meant.
Yeah.
Because I see in front of me, I see a human, and he is talking about drinking his blood, and that doesn't make, I mean, any reason in my head. What do you mean I drink your? Why I want to drink your blood? You know, why anyone want to drink blood of anybody? So
Right.
this is why they were not, because they don't understand. But you will notice that the disciple, because they heard from him way more than the others, which means they understood him very well. Then those disciples, when Jesus says to them, do you want the 12? Those are the 12. Do you want to go away too? They said no. Where we will go?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
You
why they did
have
not go? Because they
life.
understood. They listen carefully. Why they refused to go? Simon Peter, he said, Lord, whom shall we go? You have the words of the eternal life. So the disciples, because they are not like the rest, they understand very well what he is preparing for. You are the word of eternal life. Also, we have come to believe and to know that you are Christ, the Son of the living God. So the others, they did not understand that he is the Christ, the Son of the living God. They were following, maybe he is just Christ, but not to be claiming to be the Son of God. And when he started saying those things, they could not understand, and those people, they could not, let us say, digest the speech. It was too much complicated for them. But for the disciples, because they accompanied Jesus, they heard a lot of teaching from him. They were able to recognize what he is saying, what he is claiming. And then when they say to you about Judas, simply they are still talking about the crucifixion of Jesus. Correct?
Yeah.
So all of this is about crucifixion of Jesus. So those people did not understand what he is talking about, because there's no crucifixion happening.
Right.
But if you
I
tell this
guess.
story after the crucifixion, people will understand, because he was crucified, he was resurrected, and this is my blood, has been, sacrificed for you, and this is my body, was broken for you. And the one who drink from my blood, which mean, accept my let us say my drink, which mean my blood, accept it, it's been your way of salvation. And the one who accept my flesh to be broken for him, this one have the eternal life, and he will live. So what people could not understand before, they were able to understand after.
Yeah. So they still had a chance, because I guess that answered my next question, which
Okay.
was going to be, what was the purpose of him speaking that way if he knew he would confuse people? But after the ending occurs, now they know, they can contemplate on it and get the answer to themselves.
My friend, when God, he speak to all of us, and then he have let us say the story is not over. If I start reading the story in the book, and then I decide not to continue, it's not the fault of the author, it's the fault of the one who don't want to read more. So Jesus' life is not over yet, and
Right.
his mission is not over. And this is why you will see that the same people who rejected Jesus later, they start accepting Jesus, because now they understand what he meant.
Mm-hmm.
So he knew that his words will not change and the meaning will not change, even if now they don't understand, but he will give them the understanding for those who want to accept and those who want to believe. When the resurrection happened, when the crucifixion happened, then those who reject, they will see.
Yeah. And so basically, because like I said, being Muslim, we're always told the Bible has so many people writing and it's so many different people. So what I'm understanding is these are basically witnesses that all kind of write what they witnessed, and they, if there's 12 of them, they're all writing their own thing. That's what the John and Luke and all that is his disciples, correct?
Yeah, the disciples are writing as a witnesses for what Jesus said.
And they're all witnessing these miracles that this man performed in front of them.
Yeah, but you notice that the disciples, who they are witnessing what you call him the man, they knew very well that Jesus is what?
Well, yeah, it has to be. I mean, you're bringing people back to life. Only God can do that.
And no, not only that, they said to him, you are the eternal life, right? You have the word of eternal life, which means you have power of salvation. Also, we have come to believe and know that you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. So the disciple, not only they understood what Jesus meant, the disciple, they understand very well and they believe that he is the Christ, the Son of the living God.
Okay.
The rest,
The son of the
the rest they did not. The rest, they are still not, able to, to comprehend.
right. But
doesn't mean everybody left. There's many. I mean, there's a lot of people they did not like what they heard, but there's a lot of people they still they believe. But disciples are 12 only.
right. So then that's where I kind of get mixed up. If Jesus is the Son of God, he's the Christ, the Son of the living God, but then I'm hearing Jesus is God. I can understand him saying I and the Father are one, but then you mentioned earlier to the caller before me that Jesus, I think a lady said, or a man said, you are good, and then he says, why do you call me good? The only good is like God in heaven, right? The Father in heaven.
Yeah. No. When I say to you, if you say to me, you are God. If you say to me, you are God, what is my response should be?
If I say to you, I am God.
No. If you say to me, hey Christian Prince, you are God, what I should say to you back?
Oh, like why are you calling me God?
Exactly. Why you are calling me God? So Jesus not denying that he is the good God. Jesus is saying, why you call me that? If you go to John chapter 10, verse number 11, you will see Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. So when you say I am, because in the Bible there's no one is good save God, only God is good. But Jesus, he described himself as good as God, for he is the good shepherd. And who is, when we talk about shepherd, is he talking about goats?
People.
He's talking about, exactly. So
The
to
shepherd of
be the shepherd of God, of people, that's mean you are the God of those people.
Right, to lead them into
Exactly.
the righteous.
So when the person says to him, you are good, and Jesus, he answered him, he is not denying that he is good, the good God. He is saying, how you know? Why you are calling me such a word?
Right.
He did not say to him, I'm not God. He's asking him, how you know? Why? Because he knew that, remember Jesus speaking to Jews, and most of them, they are rabbis or Pharisees. So those guys, they cannot say words because words can be costly. This is a very strict society. So when you say something which is against the teaching of the Torah, there's a consequence. It's not just, it's not like now people say whatever they want. As you see, they put Jesus on the cross himself. Right?
Yeah.
So there is a very harsh uh, very harsh consequence when you say something. So when a Jew he say such a thing, he is not just saying you're good. He's saying to him you're God.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
There's a
he's not saying to
big
him
disconnect.
he's not saying to him like he's not saying to him this you're wrong. He's saying to him why. He didn't say
Mm,
don't call me.
yeah. I guess yeah, you're right. He knows to be careful around that because they were looking for any excuse.
Well, the Jews, first of all, the Jews will not say things without being careful because, as I said, this is a very tough society and everybody is watching everybody, and the rabbis will not let it go. If you say something can be considered dangerous for the faith and the belief. That's
Yeah.
why when Muslims they say the Jews that corrupted their Bible, we laugh because you see how tough they are. You know, if somebody say
Yeah.
the statement, they will they will go after him. So how we can change even the book?
Right, right. And it doesn't make sense to argue that the books have been changed because I've asked the question, well, if the Bible's corrupt and the Torah is corrupt, these are books that God sent down himself. How would they You're telling me that they were able to do that and then God finally brings a book and is like, "All right, this one's the real deal. I know these other two got messed up, but this one, no one's touching it."
Yeah,
So
it
then
doesn't
he's
make
leading
sense.
other people astray.
Yeah, and then the Quran says no one can change the words of Allah. Which if the Torah is the word of Allah, then nobody can change it.
Well, not only that, but if I can read something and you tell me, "Well, this translation is wrong," well, didn't you change the words? Basically, that is changing the words. You're giving me a different interpretation that could lead me towards the wrong answer according, the whole argument of you have to learn Arabic is very weak because if someone can translate it wrong, then you're changing the words. So that's a contradiction in itself.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anything else about he said like in the Bible? I mean, you see all those phrases in the Bible. Uh, if you read the chapters one after one in order, you need to read the whole book and then you come to the conclusion. But you don't read the chapter and you come to conclusion.
Yeah, I'm reading the whole thing.
Yeah,
I kind of
like if like now the story you mentioned to me about people not liking what Jesus said, but if I am there too, I might not like it because I don't understand what my blood, my flesh, you know. But if I was a
right.
disciple with Jesus all the time, like the rest, like Peter and the rest of the disciple, uh, most likely I will understand very well what he's saying, and I will not be the one who will leave. But if I'm just one of the crowd standing, I'm like when the teacher he stand like Jesus he speak in the mount, right? All those at that moment who they are listening, they are now disciple listening, because his teacher is he's the master, and they are the listeners, the audience. So those are not really a disciple. Those are just they like what he is saying, but when they don't like what he is saying, they leave.
Yeah, or when things get hard.
And you will notice that they don't leave because he did something bad, but because they don't get it.
They didn't understand.
Yeah, that's because not because Jesus commits sin or he did something wrong, but what he is talking about, it doesn't make sense. Flesh, blood, drink my blood. What blood? You know. But that because it happened before and Jesus he knew that after the after the crucifixion, then everybody will understand what he's talking about, even those who they were not liking what
Mm.
he said.
Okay.
Like the uh, like me now I say to somebody, those who drink my blood, people will laugh at me when drink my blood, what this guy is talking about, you know, eat my
Yeah,
flesh, are you saying we are zombie? you know what eat my flesh and what to drink my blood? But this is a very high, let's just say a metaphorical language, and because they are not in his level, and he knew, And maybe, you know, I don't know, like what the Lord is, he knows the purpose of his conversation. Maybe it's like even to filter those who really are truly believers and those who are, you know, just you know, when they like what you say, they follow. When they don't like, they leave. You know.
Right, right. Yeah, because I mean, his disciples asked him, "Why do you speak in parables?" And that's what he said. He said, "Not all ears are meant to basically grasp what I'm saying right away. It's to filter them out." You're right.
Yeah, you know, I'm saying it's possible. This is the reason, uh, because you know, if you are a true believer, you don't leave. You know, at least go after him and ask more questions and say, "What do you mean? Why? Where are you going? What your blood?" You know, they did not. They did not like it. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
And you will notice that the one who really truly believers, they did not even a question. They say we believe. You know, he asked them, "Do you want to leave too? Don't you want to leave?"
yeah,
Like those who left, you know, they said, "No, why we will leave? Where will go?" You know, Lord, and they call him Lord. You know, they are still calling him Lord, which mean nothing changed.
yeah,
And even if they say in this moment, even if the disciples don't understand in this moment, because Jesus still is not crucified, Jesus is not in the cross, is not dead, and he is not resurrected. But then, very short after, a short time after, they will understand every word what it's meant.
yeah.
No,
Do you, 'cause I tried, do you recommend the Old Testament? I tried reading it. I don't understand. Is that like
Old
a,
Testament is very important to read
okay,
to understand. Let us say the history of man and prophets with God, and the history of the Jews. But however, salvation is in the New Testament because you know we believe that Jesus is the one who will save you, is not Moses, and not what happened
yeah,
to Moses. But
yeah,
reading the Old Testament is to understand the background of the Jews and why we end here, why those Jews are doing this, and why they are not liking Jesus, and why they were waiting for Jesus, and why until now they are waiting for their own Jesus. You know, because until now there's a lot of Jews still waiting for Jesus, right? For Christ.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Even
when
yeah,
you read the
they,
Old Testament, you will understand what they were waiting for. You know what exactly, and this is why you actually, if you go to the Jews, there is you know there is a chapter in the book of Isaiah the Jews don't like, you know, and they call it the forbidden chapter, the forbidden chapter of Isaiah. So the Jews always they wanted a Christ in their design, not Christ the way he is, you know. And if Isaiah,
got
if
a phone call that came through.
huh?
I'm sorry, you got blanked out. I was getting a phone.
Okay, I'm saying the Jews they are looking for a Messiah in their design, you know, in certain design, the certain character. They want him to be fighter. They want someone to have a kingdom like the kingdom of David. You know,
Yeah,
they are looking for victory in the earth. Jesus is looking for victory in heaven, and Jesus looking for victory in the day of judgment for the believers. For them, they want now Christ who will save them now, not Christ who is speaking about later I will save you. Later I will come back to you. They want now Christ. So when Christ he did miracles, they like very much his miracles, amazing. And then if you go in the Jewish books, in the uh, Talmud, you will see that the Jews, even though they they don't accept Jesus, they say that Jesus he went to Egypt, so he learned magic, so he can do his miracles. Which mean even the Jews who don't like Jesus, or we can say they hate him, even those they admit that Jesus he did a lot of miracles. They call it magic, they call it whatever they want. They cannot deny, and they could not deny. So they claim that it was a magic he learned from Egypt. But all of us we knew that magic is false. There's nothing is called magic. It does not exist. Right? That will leave
yeah,
us that will leave us in one direction that it was true miracles. They could not explain it, so they try to make it magic. So how Jesus here resurrect people from death? Magic. How he make the blind see? Magic. How he make the one who cannot walk? Magic. You know. But we know that there is no such a thing. And
No,
you cannot learn how to resurrect people from death. Not from Egypt, not from anywhere.
no, not at all. No
Yeah.
one can.
Yeah.
Well, according to the witnesses, Jesus did.
I mean, even
That's
Muhammad, even the liar Muhammad, he could not deny that Jesus he have all this ability to go to do what he do.
yeah. I mean, the Quran talks about Jesus a lot. I mean, it calls him holy and it mentions that he has the Holy Spirit and
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah, and you know, and like he created from the mud the bird, he made the blind see, he resurrect people from death. I mean, what is left? What is left Jesus cannot do?
uh,
You know, actually, always we need to ask ourselves a very simple question. If Jesus was sent to be a messenger, why the Christians believe in him as God? You know, there's a reason. We have to come to the real reason. If Jesus cannot do what he do, we will not believe in him as God. It's not because he
right,
say I'm God. That's because he said I'm the Son of God. But Jesus, he supported what he say by doing things. Like, why only Jesus, he do all this miracle? The Bible says there's no book can write down the number of the miracles Jesus he did. Not all the book in the world can contain what Jesus he was able to do. No one can write and describe the miracle of Jesus. So that being said, then we have to ask ourselves, who is this Jesus? Is he just a prophet? I mean, why all these miracles? If this, you know, if God he sent Jesus to be a prophet, then God made a mistake, because by having all those miracles, he made us believe that he is God.
right. So is Jesus basically the seal of like no prophets after him? Like he's the last, like
You
sent down.
know, you can people can prophesy in the name of Jesus, but that does not make them prophets. You know, as an example, I can prophesy things by understanding the gospel, but that does not make me a prophet. If somebody claimed that he received prophecies, then that means that if the way, let's say, you see, me prophesying doesn't make me prophet, but if I claim that I receive a prophecy from God, that means I'm a prophet. That's what a prophet means. So we know that the disciple, they wrote the book, is called the book of Revelation, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so those are the disciples. Well, already they are being chosen for a reason, and the Lord is communicating with them. But the Lord, he did not communicate with me, and I'm not a prophet, and I believe there is no reason for me to be a prophet. What I will do exactly, what I prophesy, there's nothing,
Right.
you know. So there's many false prophets. They will come on this earth, as Jesus said. Be aware of them. They will come to you in the clothes of a sheep, but they are wolves.
Yeah, I remember reading that. Yeah. It
Yeah.
says, he says, correct me if I'm wrong, near the end times, a lot of your men will basically get dreams, right? And like you said, to be able to, I guess, right? Like your men will dream dreams and they'll like prophesy or something like that. Jesus
You know,
says
when
that.
it is said, not everyone says to me, Lord, Lord, into the kingdom of my Father, but the one who do his will. And then they said that, Lord, didn't we, you know, prophesy in your name, make miracles in your name? He said to them, depart away from me, I do not know you. Because they did that for their own glory. So they prophesy in his name, you know, which mean I go shout in the cloud, says, Jesus is coming, the Lord is coming, be aware, you know, the end of time. Okay, and now I'm prophesying, but doesn't make me prophet.
Right, right.
So
Yeah, yeah, I get
if
it.
I do that for my glory, let us say I want to make money, you know, collect money from people. You know, people respect me, you know, and I'm a bishop, I'm a priest, People invite me, they respect me because I'm a big deal. But if I'm a true servant of God, then Jesus, he will not say to me, depart away from me. And you cannot hide the truth that if you were serving truly God, or you were just serving yourself.
Right. Yeah, your heart knows.
Yeah, I mean, I can lie to people. I can say to them, I'm a good believer, but after I hang up here, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, you
Doesn't
can't lie to
matter.
God.
Yeah, but I cannot do that to God. So not everyone. And here, when the Muslim they say, where Jesus says I'm God, well, he will go all everything. Actually, the chapter you choose for me, it says it clearly that you are a Christ, the Son of the living God. It says that right away, and you are the word of eternal life, which means you have the one, have the power of the flesh. You are God, or God.
Yeah.
And when Jesus, he said, not everyone says to me, Lord, Lord, which means not everyone says to me, God, God. Why? First of all, why people will say even to him? People, they will speak to God, not to him, unless he's God, correct?
Correct.
Because when I say Lord, Lord, when Jesus said, not everyone says to me, Lord, Lord, obviously I'm talking to him as God, because what Lord, Lord? Who are you? When I say Lord, I mean God. But Jesus is
Yeah.
making it clear, not everyone says to me, Lord, Lord.
Mm.
What will happen? Will enter the kingdom of my Father. So by worshiping Jesus, calling him, supplicating to him, you go to heaven. But Jesus said to them, not necessarily, because you can call me, but you don't mean it. You can call me for your own benefit, but you don't do it for me. If you do
Hmm.
so, I will say to you, depart away from me, I do not know you.
Yeah.
And then the
That
Muslim,
that
they say, where Jesus says, I'm God, worship me.
he says, I and the Father are one.
You don't know, I'm saying, this sentence alone, not everyone says to me, Lord, Lord, is
Mm.
enough. I mean, when you say, Lord, Lord, you are talking to whom? You're talking to
The
God,
Lord.
right?
Yeah, you're talking
Okay,
to the
but
Lord.
but when he said, not everyone says to me,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
obvious. Not everyone says to me, not everyone. He's saying, not everyone says to the Father. He's saying, not everyone says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of my Father. So when you speak, you say, Lord, Lord, you speak to Jesus, and you mean Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
that's
definitely
mean this mean our prayer is sent to Jesus. Lord, Lord, speaking to whom? To Jesus. Saying that will not be enough, but speaking of and doing what? Speaking of me, praying to me, which means supplicating your prayer to me, worshiping me,
yeah.
and doing the will of my Father. So there's two conditions. If you do one of them alone, that will not grant you to be in the kingdom of heaven. You have to do two parts, and this is that will refute actually. When the Muslim they say, or some people they say that a Christian believe in destiny. That's false, because this is destroy any destiny anyone believe in it. Because why? Because if it's a destiny, why it says the one who did the will of my Father? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
If it's destiny, then everybody will do the will of the Father anyway. It's a destiny. It's not a choice.
Yeah.
But if you choose not to do the will, you choose to do your own will, then heaven is not yours. So simply a believer is someone choose to do the will of the Father, not his own will.
Yeah. Unselfish reasons.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can do choices. There's choices like, you say to me, don't fornicate, I go fornicate. You say to me, don't steal, I steal. This is my will, you know. So
Mm.
the Father will have to be in connection with supplicating the prayer, Lord, Lord. So when you supplicate, supposedly, we are talking about a believer, because only the believers, they say, Lord, Lord, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so how you are a believer, then you don't do the will of the Father, which is not to kill, not to lie, not to steal, not to rape, not to etc. So if we are believers, then believers do what believers do. If we are hypocrite, then we say, speak in our lips, praising God, as many verses in the Old Testament and New Testament speak of praising God, Lord, Lord, but we do the opposite.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, there's kind of a story like that where the Muslims talk about. There's a guy who I don't know if you ever heard of it. Supposedly this is like what I heard, and I thought it was kind of crazy. God is eternally merciful. We all know this. It was a story about a man who like killed a bunch of people. Right? He was a murderer.
100 people.
Yeah, goes to somebody. He says, "Hey, I killed people. Can I get into heaven?" The guy says, "No." He kills him. He gets to like 10 people, and then he kills the last guy. And then on his way, the guy tells him, "There's a village over there. Go over there and go seek out this Mallah and go talk to him about the Quran and stuff, and then you will find the answer you seek." He kills the guy, walks towards it. He dies on the way, and then God grants him into heaven. And he tells the angel, "Go and measure how far he got." And I was like, why would God need the angel to bring a tape measure down to earth to measure his footsteps to see how far he got? And he granted him heaven. I'm like, that's just this is just, I don't know, man. It's crazy. But
yeah, you see, this is again Muhammad. He makes fiction stories, because
is
first,
this a hadith?
this is a hadith. Yeah, this is a hadith in Sahih Muslim, the one you are mentioning, about a guy he killed 99 people, not 10.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
some other hadith says 100. You know, like each time he kills somebody, Allah forgive him, Allah forgive him, Allah forgive him. So 100. But here you ask yourself a very simple question. I mean, when God he forgive me for first one and second one and third one, and when I say to people, even if you kill 100 people, God will forgive you, isn't me encouraging people to kill 900 100 and don't worry about it?
that can definitely come off that way. Yes, can really twist the mind of someone who reads that.
Yeah, because if you say to me 100 people he killed and still he is going to go to heaven, I will go for it. I will say the first one, the second one. I mean, if I kill 10 people, I will get rich. I can go robbery now, find some rich people, and I choose my, let us say, victims carefully, and then okay, Allah will forgive me. First one, second one, third one, 10 one, 10, 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, 60. I mean, this guy, he killed the town.
100 people later, yeah.
Yeah, and the hadith in front of you, you know, this is the hadith you are talking about. It's not about 10, it's about 100. Yeah.
Oh, you're pulling it.
Yeah.
I didn't know it's a hadith. They just, I've heard this story shared so many times. It's just, yeah, I've always been to ask questions, but they get mad. They get very mad and upset. I'm literally.
You see, God he forgive. Yes, God he forgive. But to mention to people such a number, saying a person who killed even 100, you know, even 100, there is a forgiveness for him. That is an encouragement for people to say. It's like, you know, we have a president, and he says, each time you kill somebody, you go to jail, he release you. And you are debt free. Go. There is no, you are not wanted no more. You go, you kill the second person, you come back. And now, any Muslim, he listen to this, he will say to himself, well, I can kill 100. Still, Allah will forgive me. I can kill, I can rape, I can do, I mean, you know, when I'm going to stop then? And who is going to stop me?
Yeah,
you know,
and especially if you feel like you're killing for the cause of, you know, jihad and whatever.
Anything. No, here those are murders. Those are not even for jihad.
Yeah, this is not even in war. This is just
No, no,
he just killed.
this is just for
He,
this is for a murder. This guy is maybe a thief or etc. You know, so
yeah, I mean, the story says that he killed a man just because he didn't like the answer he was given. What is that? That's ridiculous.
whatever reason, money, etc. So then I'm encouraging people to kill. You know, when the woman she committed adultery, and Jesus said to her, "I don't judge you, but don't do it again. Don't do it again." You know.
Right, right.
So this time I forgive you, but next time I will not. Don't do it again. Here, you know, there's a forgiveness, but look like this forgiveness is a joke. Same time, you know, when God he forgive you, do people forgive you? What about the 100 people he killed?
Right.
Where is the justice?
Where is where that's what I was gonna say. Where is justice? The families,
Say, you
the
know, and you
kids that
know
they
how
have to
many
find.
orphan he made, how many child he become homeless, how many etc. Just to prove that Allah he forgave. And if that will make people better, no, that will not make people better. You know,
Yeah, no,
because
no, not at
now
all.
you are telling me I can go and you know loot and kill in town, and I have. Let us say we take it literally by numbers, you know, 100. So I will, when I arrive to 99, I will stop.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, it's ridiculous, man. It doesn't. I
yeah,
think, man, just there's a lot of people listening. Like I'm 30 years old. Like I said, man, I've just throughout my entire life just Muslims denying, anything else is right at all. And if we ask questions that actually make sense and they can't answer it, we're stonewalled. We're just told, well, you know, you're misunderstanding it, or you don't have this, or you don't have that. And I read one thing in the Bible, man. You know which part I read that really made me realize that I've been following the wrong thing? One thing that Jesus said
yeah.
that really stuck in my heart. Jesus said, I don't know who he said it to, but I remember reading this and I thought, man, this is absolutely this is not a man. Where he tells them, how can you expect God to forgive you when you won't forgive others? You
Exactly.
expect God to forgive you, but you won't forgive others.
Hmm.
You want God to erase your sins, but you won't let forgive this person for hurting you in the past, whatever the case may be. And when I heard that one thing, I was like, man, I need to search further into what I currently believe in, because I've never heard something that deep. Like, it's so simple, but it's I haven't heard that in Islam. Like, I've never heard any sheikh
You
talk about
see,
that. Like, just,
when we pray, our Father
yes,
art of heaven, right? What we say? We say, forgive to us the same as we forgive to others, right?
right, right.
Okay. Why? Because it's a condition. If you don't forgive, you don't deserve forgiveness.
That's yeah. That's,
You
man, and
know,
that's beautiful. I think
because
that's that
yeah,
simple
because
message right there.
every one of us, it might be a victim of somebody. You know, even if I'm a criminal, you know, even if I'm a
Yeah,
criminal, I might be victim of somebody else. So,
yeah,
uh, like maybe when you are a child, you know, they throw you in the street, they stole your money. You know, this is how a criminal happen actually to exist. I mean, society is bad, ugly. They treat them badly, and then they grow wrongly, and then they do what they learn in the street to do.
yeah,
Uh, but in Christianity, when Jesus he encouraged us to forgive, he is teaching us the value of forgiveness, and the value of forgiveness is, uh, you know, you took for free, you give for free. I'm giving you forgiveness for free. What you are paying for
yeah,
it? Nothing. So why you have hatred in your heart and you don't want to forgive? So if you want me to forgive you, but you yourself being evil, you don't want to forgive, you don't deserve my forgiveness. Very simple.
yeah,
And then even if you forgive, if the Lord don't want to forgive the person you forgave, well, this is because of justice. But at least from your side, you know, you are clean. You are not full of hate. You know, this is why if you go to Matthew chapter 6, it says, for if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. And I think maybe this is what you were talking about, right?
Yeah. Just that, like I said, that part is I love that. If you want God in heaven to forgive you, you need to learn to forgive.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's
This is in
wonderful.
Matthew chapter 6 from 14 verse 14 and 15. So if you learn how to forgive, then the Lord will forgive you, for you deserve it.
Yeah,
You know,
and
you don't get what you don't deserve. If you don't have love, why you want to receive love?
it really does seem like the answer to happiness on earth is literally like the few things that Jesus has said. I've heard you say this. If we follow even one thing that he says, love your neighbor, love your enemy, I mean,
Yeah,
just following these things strongly would literally,
this is a
it
book
would
by
create.
itself, my friend. This is a book by itself. Love your enemy is a book. It's
Oh yeah. I see what you.
love your enemy is a chapter 1 and the last chapter, in the book, because all mankind pain, because why we have walls and doors and security cameras and security, because we have we have fear. There's bad people, there's enemies. Why we spend billions and trillions of dollars for security, airplanes? If this earth spend the money we spend for army, this every street will be full of flowers. Every street will be full of. We will not live in normal houses. We will live in villas. You know,
Yeah.
because we spend trillions of dollars. USA alone, the budget is more budget than a continent, all of it, just for the army. And
Yeah.
this is the case for all countries in the world. I mean, even the poor ones, they take from the mouth of the poor to buy an airplane. So
Mm.
if we love our enemy, then there's no enemy. If everybody practices this sentence, there's no enemy, there's no occupation, there's there's
Completely
nothing.
get rid of fighting.
Yeah.
No fighting at all if you love your neighbor, love your enemy.
Simply, if you practice this sentence, you just have heaven and earth.
Yeah.
But
And
imagine Jesus, who said that 2,000 years ago. You see, this is why people don't understand him. I mean, what do you mean love your enemy? I mean, we are talking about 2,000 years ago. People kill each other. Until now, we are killing each other. Nothing changed.
I mean, even now, people reject that. They don't. They're like, "What? No, I'm not. No, why would I do that? You're
Yeah, I
telling me
mean,
to put up with
even
people."
Christians, they get angry from this sentence. They say, like another day, a guy from Iraq, he says, those people, they took our land. They occupy Iraq. I'm Assyrian, Chaldean, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the Bible says, love your enemy. How I can love them?
I think what I learned from that, because I looked into it, and that's people can turn away from that and say how like what I said. They can say, "Why would I put up with somebody who's being crappy to me?" That's not what Jesus is saying. He's not saying put up with them, go around them all the time and just put up with it. What he's saying is, if you find forgiveness in your own heart, because we already know medically, if you hold any kind of resentment towards someone and you hate someone, you feel that in your heart. If you hold that for a very long time, you actually get sick. Your body doesn't handle stress very well if you hold it for a long time.
Yeah,
You physically get sick.
your hate is like a poison. It will kill you slowly.
Yeah, and when he's saying to forgive them, it's for you too. So you're not holding stress and stuff. You're not holding that feeling that what is that, like a demonic spirit or something? Like the spirit of like hate is manifesting from you or something. I don't.
Yeah.
But it has physical things we can
But
see. It gets
you
people.
notice with me, that when Christ he speak, his language is high, not like Muhammad language. It's a very spiritual, very noble. It's high. This is why he said, "I am from above, you are from below." But
Yeah.
doesn't mean that Jesus speaking to them in a language they don't understand. But everything will have to be step by step. And when Jesus speak about himself will be crucified, why? Because he knew people will reject him. He's not being surprised. But in the same time, there is people who will accept his blood and his flesh, and those will be saved. So he knew there is people will not like it, they will not accept it, they will not listen, and there is people they would believe and they will stay and they will pay for their life even to be his disciple. So
follow
you
to
know,
death.
but always, sometime it can happen to any of us. I can judge you by half sentence you said because I did not listen to the rest.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're all guilty of that.
yeah. Like when a Muslim he says there is no God, I can stop him. Says you are an atheist. You know, you just said
Yeah,
it. You just said there's no God. I heard you. You know, I said, well, hold on, I want to continue the rest. You said, no, no, no. You said, you know, and this is what some people do. You just say there's no God. You know, I have a list of sentence, which doesn't make sense, by the way, because when you say there's no God but Allah, well, you just deny a God existence. You know, so even the sentence doesn't make sense. But he meant something. Then we have to understand what he meant, what this person meant. And this is the problem. Some people, because Jesus, he is speaking a very high, noble, loving language in a time where people don't want to listen to that. You know, they are in the time of slavery, death, Roman. You know, there is a slave market where you can go and buy a human being like goats. You know, we are talking about a time where people can be left and you know they kill them and they throw them in the side of the road, you know, and the pirate kidnapping, stealing. So we are talking about different time from what we have today. But I believe that we will go backward, you know, the same as the time of Jesus was. I believe the world maybe soon will go back in that direction. And as you see now, you know, China will attack Taiwan, Russia is attacking Ukraine, God knows who attack who tomorrow, and those are big beasts, you know, and
yeah,
they can burn this earth. They can make us all homeless, hungry, you know.
yeah,
Yeah. So a human being, because you don't appreciate, this is what the Bible says, you know, what those who don't appreciate will be taken from them. Whatever they have will be taken from them. You know, the Roman ones, they used to be the most powerful empire, been taken from them. The Persian, the Muslims, you know, all of them became. It's been taken from them. Human being, he because of his greed, he grow, he make empires, and his greed will kill him, will destroy him. The same reason he become an empire is the same reason he will be destroyed.
yeah.
No, but you know, I'm happy that you are reading the Bible and. Already you like many things Jesus said, so I don't know if there's anything stopping you from accepting him.
It's just, man. Uh, like I said, I've pretty much the Quran. I'm not really looking into anymore because that one contradiction about how the earth is made and everything else is I don't I don't I'm getting to the point where I'm stronger. I can kind of push it away. But 30 years of being told that it's shirk, like it's one of the worst things you can do to call Jesus God. That it gets ingrained in us from little kids. That if you say that, that is one of the biggest sins you can commit,
I don't care
man.
what
And
people say. I mean, who care about what people say? It's what is convincing for me or not. If you are convinced,
uh,
you know, if you are not, then you are not. You see, you can do the same as those people the one you mentioned, their story for me, you know, that when they heard what Jesus said, they left. You can do the
yeah,
same, you know,
yeah.
it's
I
up to
think
you.
at this point, I have accepted Jesus as like my savior, and I know he's divine because after what I've been reading, I've been kind of trying to live more to what he's been saying, and I feel like my life is getting better. I feel better about myself too, um, and I feel like I'm being led to something that is the truth to me. What I feel in my heart, that Jesus is not just a man. Like he was definitely has things that only God could do, and the Holy Spirit in him is the thing that you know how Muslims just call him a man and a prophet. Well, that spirit is divine, and we have to recognize that.
I mean, to that, my
It's
friend.
it's
Well,
not something you can just deny.
well, I'm happy for you that you accept the Messiah as your Savior, as your Lord. But remember one thing: uh, it's not just because you know there's words is convincing me. Because there's many people they can speak words, good words, There's philosophers, you know. There's people that are smart, you know. They can be very convincing the way they speak. But you will notice that Jesus, he spoke and he did what he say. I can give you lectures from now until next century about how to be holy. And then I go, I see a woman, she is beautiful. I get tempted, right? Then
Yeah.
all my speeches was what? Was his gun in the wind. As soon as the wind moved the skirt of that girl. So
Yeah.
Jesus is not just a person who speak good, speak high, speak loving words. Jesus, he did. You know, imagine Jesus who said, forgive your enemy, love your enemy. He did not forgive his enemies. Isn't it him in the cross? He says, forgive them, Father, they do not know what they are doing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
this is the last thing I would do. Me, myself, if you with me in the cross, I will be
Right.
screaming, shouting, saying maybe dirty words to you. You know, I will kill you. I will, you know, just, you know, I'm dying now. You know, it's not the time to say to you, thank you. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus, he proved that he is not the person who speak just nice words. He's just a nice teacher. He proved that he do what he say and he say what he do. When all of us as a human, we say something and we do something else. I mean, who of us is not a sinner? Who of us don't get tempted? Who of us don't do things, you know, shameful things? Who of us don't lie? Who of us don't look at women she is not his, or a woman she look at a man he is not her husband? Or who of us don't wish the money of, you know, I mean, all of us, we are full of sin. We do sin every day. But in the
Yeah.
case of Jesus, he is not a person only who do miracles, not only a person walking in water, controlling the nature, making the dead alive, making the blind see. I mean, the list is endless. In the top of that, he is a
Yeah.
person who forgive people when they are killing him. And that is the test,
Yeah.
you know.
That's not human.
That is not normal. No, this is not a human behavior. A person who is being tortured, you know, this is not even death. This is torture, you
Spit
know.
on.
No, no, torture. I mean, this is torture. This is a cross. This is not death. And death, you kill me in a second, I feel nothing, you know. If you
Yeah.
shoot somebody, he's dead, and it doesn't take even 10 seconds. He's dead. But when you put nails and, you know, in his feet and his hands, and it take hours for him to die, and put needles in his head and make him drink instead of water, you know, vinegar or whatever. I mean, this is just you know, very crucial to, you know, torture. Yet this
Yeah.
person, he is thinking of them, and not only that, I believe that the Messiah, when he said that, he did two things. Number one, he forbid the Christians from doing seeking revenge, you know, because now if somebody tried to convince me that we should be the enemy of the Jews, aren't they the one who killed Jesus? Then I have to say to myself, well, if Jesus forgive them, how dare I to say no? They are not forgiven,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. His true disciples. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, he forgave them in the cross. Like, you cannot convince me in in going to go in war against the Jews, because Jesus, he
Yeah.
forgave them. I mean, he is our Lord. He is not a disciple. This is the Lord himself said, forgive them, Father. They don't know what they are doing.
Yeah.
So if he himself, he gave them forgiveness, then how I can be against his will when the whole story is about to accept the will of God, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, this statement from Jesus did many things. Keep peace on earth, so people will not seek revenge from each other, kill each other. Same time, keep the Christians in order, so they will not be people who do are following. They are like Muhammadan, you know, going and killing and seeking revenge and kill this guy, and you know, anyone who is don't agree with us, we kill him. So Jesus, not just a story, let us say, not a beautiful love story. It is a living life story of love, because he
Yeah.
lived, he loved in his death, in his resurrection, in his message, in his teaching. All of it was about love and forgiveness, and he himself, he practiced it.
Yep. Lead by example.
Yeah, this is why there is a, there is a huge difference between if somebody he speak about Jesus as a philosopher, well, philosophers put nails in their hand and see what they would do. you know
Yeah.
that is not a philosophy. This is far away from philosophy, because nobody will have the patient, will have the love. This is a
Yeah.
lot of love. Like, you are killing me, and I'm feeling sorry for you, not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, man. I mean, I love it. I like it a lot. I
Well,
feel like this is good.
I'm glad that's you called today and you accepted the Messiah. So now soon you have to read more. Educate yourself more in the Bible, and when you read, try to like live the story, not just to read the story. For me, when I read the story, actually, I like to imagine it. Like I
Yeah.
am between those crowd, and Jesus saying things and did not understand. Some people left, some people stay. The disciple, you want to leave? No, where we will go? So live the story, not only read the story, because that will make the story, let us say, like stay in your memory and your understanding better. At the
Yeah.
same time, uh, try to have patience, because we might read a chapter of life of a person, but if we don't read all his life, then that chapter maybe will not make sense.
Yeah. 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 I mean, like you said, if you didn't know about the crucifixion, some of the stuff wouldn't
Yeah,
add up.
that's why he is, when he said blood on flesh, doesn't make sense, because there's no crucifixion. What he's talking about, who's the dead one who is going to drink his blood, So
Yeah.
people need to have patience and learn. At that time, those people, they lost their opportunity. They are not willing even to ask him, "What are you talking about? Why? What do you mean?" But you will notice that they are just talking to each other. Nobody is asking him a question, saying, "Well, can you elaborate more? Can you explain more? What do you mean?"
Yeah.
Nobody. It's just listening, and they come with a conclusion. Uh, always, when I like speak to Muslims, Muslims, they come with their own ideas of the Bible. As an example, a Muslim once, he said to me that Jesus, he said, "Drink my piss." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah."
Mm.
I said, "How?" He said, "Isn't it Jesus says, the one who drink my water?" you know,
My water.
yeah, drink my water, like he will never go thirsty. So the one who drink my water will never go thirsty. So that what water of Jesus? Did he have a faucet? Do you have,
Mm.
So
I take it as like a message. If you follow everything I'm saying, you take my water, you will have
this is
You will
exactly
never thirst eternally.
what the blood is about too.
Yeah. I kind of see that now. If you live
Water,
by it, you will
water,
have a better life.
yeah, water, blood, bread. You know, this is all is food, substance to a human being. Right?
Yeah.
So when Jesus speak, he speak in parable for people to understand. But the second he said blood, they got like he hit the nerve. What blood? Bread, I take it. Water, oh, okay. But blood, my flesh, that's out of the line.
Yeah.
However, those people later, they joined Christianity by thousand. Remember that we as a Christians, we did not know about Jesus except from the Jews anyway. And
Yeah. And
the first Christians who become Christians is the Jews. It's not there's nothing is called the Christian. They are not Jews. The first Christians are just pure Jews.
okay.
Which
His
mean,
disciples were Jews.
yeah, All everybody, all this story here was talking about people they are Jews. Like
these are all Jews. Yeah, that's where he came.
yeah, even if in the chapter you quote for me, the one you mentioned, it says he was speaking to the Jews. So those Jews, the disciple is his Jews, and the other disciple, which means just people who follow to listen, they are Jews. Everybody is a Jew.
Mm.
Everybody.
Yeah.
The only one is not Jews is the Roman soldiers and the ruler, but those are not the local. Those are occupier.
Okay. Was Mary Jewish? So Jesus is Jewish, right?
Well, by birth he is a Jew, but he is a God of the Jew. For us, we don't believe he is a Jew. He is the God of the Jews. Because when Jesus said before Abraham, I am, that means he exists before Judaism exist.
Yeah.
He's the God of Abraham. Yeah. So like by birth, he is born of of a Jewish family, but in fact he don't belong to the Jews. The Jews belong to him. This is why when Jesus he said to the Jews, what you say of the Messiah? They said he is the son of David. Yeah. He said, well, if he is son of David, then how David can call him Lord in spirit?
Son of David. Yeah, I remember reading that. I didn't know what they meant by that, son of David.
Yeah. So why David called him? Why David called him Lord, if he is son of David? And you notice even the Christians, they keep saying son of David, son of David, son of David, correct? Because this is like by birth he is son of David. This is David, like the most proud person the Jews are proud of as the greatest king. But in the same time, Jesus himself, he explained to us that he is not the son of David. He is the God of David.
Yeah, I remember he said, why would David call me Lord?
Yeah, you see, so why if I am the son of David, then why David he called me Lord? Simply he is saying the Messiah is your Lord, is your God. Yeah. So if we go to Matthew, let us see here.
It's just very tricky how they can twist, because I didn't know either until I read the Bible, where I realized these aren't multiple different books and versions from different writers. These are all 12 men that witnessed what he did, and they're all writing about it. That's something we're not told.
The witnessing of Jesus, or what happened to Jesus, it just actually for us it was for better, because imagine there is only one witness. Like when you have an image, like right now technology can make image in 3 dimension, right?
Right.
But they cannot make an image in 4 dimension.
No.
But 4 dimension would be better, because we can see the front, the back, the side, both sides. So I believe there is a reason for the Bible to be in 4 dimension, so that we can have a better understanding, not a confusion. So every writing, and some Muslim they will say, how come Luke is not exactly the same as John? But what the point then to write exactly the same if the same book?
Yeah.
There's no point. I mean, it's the same book. So every one of them he present for us a side of the story which is not mentioned in the other side of the story.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that does definitely help too. I remember reading one of them was when they came to take Jesus, and one of his disciples swung with his sword and cut one of the soldier's ears off.
Yeah, Peter.
Yeah, and then Peter. The one that I was reading didn't mention. It was another one that I read later. It mentioned how Jesus healed his ear.
Yeah, you
where the
see,
other one.
this is exactly because one of them he mentioned something. Every one of the disciples he focused in something. As an example, you know, John he speak in details, which is you know, because his message was speaking to people who speak a Greek language. Greek people are very much into logic. They are philosophers. You know, this is Greece. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
they are the people of philosophy. Philosophy is coming from there. They have Aflaton and they have, you know. So when John he speak to the Greek, is not the same as Luke speaking. So you will find that right away when John he speak about the logos.
yeah,
You will not find that in different book. Why? Because there is a reason. Those are people are very highly educated, you know, and their brain is way more complicated too. You know, they enjoy, let us say, high conversation, you know, challenging conversation. So
yeah,
right
yeah.
away he says, in the beginning it was the word, and the word in English translated it's the logos. But the logos is not really the word. In English we say the word. The logos is way more than just a word for the Greek. So every nation, like the Bible is speaking in different languages and different way and different method, and all of them they complete each other to make and to complete the message. However, Christianity is not just the Bible. Christianity is a Christ, because all of this is just to tell us what Jesus was here for, what he did. But the important in all those books is to say to us that you have only one salvation, no other choice. That is the Messiah. The one who accepts, he is a winner. The one who don't, he is a loser. And this is the whole message. So it is 4 books, it's 1 book, it's 3 books. It is one message. It is about Jesus the Messiah. He is our Savior. And every statement Jesus he said, and you see the Messiah, he speak to people depend in their ability. Like as an example, when we mention this in Matthew chapter 22, when Yeshua he said to them, "What say you of the Messiah? Whose son is he?" The question is very simple, but it's challenging for the smart one. The Jews right away they give the answer they learn all their life. He is a son of David. Son of David doesn't mean he is son of David. It means he is from David, from David. But and then Jesus he suddenly he is giving them a shocking answer, and this is telling you that even those who call themselves rabbi, they don't even understand their book, because if the Messiah is the son of David, then how David called him Lord? I mean, this is very simple a question, but it's very complicated.
Yeah.
And it was shocking for them to come with such a question they could not answer, And he called him.
David,
Yeah.
Is David the husband of Mary?
But David the
Is
king.
that why?
David the king.
Oh, okay, David the king. So they're saying that he's a son of why on earth were they saying
No,
that?
David. How David he called him, how David he called the Messiah, Lord, Jehovah, or he said, and he quote for them what it says. The Lord Jehovah said to my Lord, sit in my right hand until I place your enemy under your feet. And here, Jesus continues saying, if therefore David called him the Lord Jehovah, how he is his son?
Yeah. That wouldn't. Yeah.
Because if I am if I am the son of somebody, I mean, I will respect my father, and I will not call him, I will not call my son Lord.
Right. It wouldn't. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And then you will see, and says here, and no man could give him an answer, and no man dared again from that day to question him. Yeah. But here you see, as that the Jews, they have a wrong understanding of the Messiah, or what they want to know, that he is a son of David. Why? Because for them, David represent victory, kingdom, army, wealth, power. He don't present for them like occupation, Roman taking over them. David is the dream of a freedom to be the mighty kingdom again, you know.
Yeah.
So this is what they are, you know, this is why they are seeking David, son as a Christ. They are not seeking Christ as Son of God.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They want freedom. They want kingdom. They want victory. They want a massive army. They want you know, they want what all of us we want. You know,
Yeah.
all of
That
us we
was
want a victorious country, victorious army, powerful country, worthy. You know, and those people, they are occupied and they are seeking desperately to be free.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
But as you
that
see, Jesus always, he showed the Jews that you don't understand the word of God.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's, you know, still happening a lot today too. I mean, yeah, you're right.
See, all the like for me as a Christian, I grow reading the Bible. You know, I struggle with the Christ because he is so high and we are so low. It's not because he is bad, but because we are so low. You know, we are from, as he said, you are from below. I'm from above.
Yeah. No, no,
So
the man, the moment I started reading the Bible, the New Testament, and once it started talking about witnessing the things Jesus was doing, that's once I started getting to that, I'm like, this is beautiful. Like this is definitely someone that I want to use as my life model, what I want to be more like.
you see,
And
when you make the extreme good one your life model, your life will be way better. But you cannot make Muhammad your life model because that will make you a horrible person.
right, right. And it's just it's the just the emotion of retaliating. There was a story when the Jews betrayed him, because my cousin gave me a book and he said, read this book, it'll answer your question. It made my question even worse. The
Yeah.
book said when the Jews betrayed him and they still lost, right? They lost whatever they were trying to do. They weren't successful. He went with his people, his soldiers, he slaughtered all the Jews, and then he took the men and women, I'm sorry, he took the women and children as slaves. And then the icing on the cake was the line right after that. It said, the punishment which they well deserved. And I asked my cousin, I said, man, why do the women and children deserve to be slaves because of what the men did? That doesn't even, what? Like, that doesn't even add up.
No, not only that. I mean, if somebody fought Muhammad and he took them as a slave, I would let it go too. But this guy, he was taking people as a slave, even those who never fought him. You know, Muhammad, he says, I've been commanded to fight all mankind. So what the Muslims they say about the Jews conspiracy, it's just an excuse because the command of Muhammad is so clear. I have been commanded to fight all mankind until they say there's no God but Allah and there's no prophet but me. You know? And this is what the Quran is saying too, like fight those who don't believe in Allah and the last days, right? So all the excuses they have is just to duct tape the crimes of Muhammad. But here you notice, Jesus is not looking for excuse to kill. He's looking to save. So when the Jews they said to him, "Why you are speaking to this sinner?" You know, he said, "I came for the sick, not for the healthy."
Yeah.
So
The ones who,
there's a huge difference between this character and this character. Jesus coming to save, and he speak to the one nobody want to speak to because those are supposedly sinner. You know, the Jews are so proud. You know, the Pharisees, they are so proud of themselves. You know, the rabbis, we are the good ones. Those are trash. Who are you talking to? You know, Jesus said,
yeah.
"I came for the sick." Jesus himself, he forced his disciple to let him wash their feet. You see, we are speaking
Yeah.
about example to follow. But Jesus, you know, how you are saying to them, you are son of God and you are God, and now you want to wash their feet. Even the disciples, they could not take it. They said, "Lord, we're not letting you do that." They said, "If you don't let me, you don't belong to me. I don't know you."
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah. He
and
compared them to a flock of sheep.
Yeah.
when he compared the sinners to the sheep. That he was saying, if you're herding a flock of sheep and a few sheep go off on their own trail, he's saying that basically those sinners, you as a shepherd are going to go after that sheep. You're not going to focus on
Yeah,
the
if
sheep
you
you
have a
already
lost
have.
sheep, if you have a lost sheep, you go and
Yeah,
you leave the, and you bring the lost sheep. Yeah, but you see here, Jesus is not seeking servants; he is coming to serve. And
he's saving.
yeah, and he is a servant. He's a servant. You see, the true God is a servant. Is not only God. You see, who is the one who provides us? Why we Christian we call God Father? Why we call him
We're all
Father? Because he is servant. He serve us. You know, the Muslim they think if you say servant, this is an insult. This is not an insult. This is a great word. In
we
Christianity,
call
the word
ourselves
servant is a great word because God the Father, he is the one who serve us. Who is the one who provide us what we have? God. Who
God.
is the
Yeah,
one who gave us food? God. This is he's serving us. You know, all the service we have is the service of God. This is
yeah,
reality. You know, the food, the sun, the light, the heat, everything we have, we are served by God. You know, and then they say to you, God is not a servant. No, God is the true servant, and He is the only servant actually. The rest is enjoying the service of God. All of us, even when I give, let's say I make a donation, let's say I give you a sandwich, you know, but who is the one really who provide us with the food? It's God, not me. I'm not the one who created it. So everything
yeah,
we have is coming. Even when we talk about prophet, people they speak about prophet. The true prophet is God. The rest are just prophesying in the name of God. You know,
yeah. He's
when when
granting it.
when we say prophet, what does that mean? Prophet is somebody tells something in the future will happen, right?
Right,
But that
prophesy.
but
Yeah,
that's God.
yeah.
That's
Because it
God.
couldn't be
That's
anywhere
not a man.
else.
So when
Future.
Moses he speak of a prophecy, well, this is what God said, not him. The true
Right,
prophet, the first prophet, and the only prophet is God. The rest are just prophesying in the name of God.
right, right.
You know?
And Christians believe that we are the children of God. Correct.
Yeah, we are children of God. That's why we call him children,
That's,
because we're children because he is our father. He's the one who serve us, the one who, when you are a child, who is the one, if your mom is not there, who is going to make sandwich for you? You dad. Who's going to put your
yeah,
shoes in your feet? Your dad. You know? In this case, we don't have a mother, we have only father.
yeah.
You know?
And I love that relationship more than being told you're a slave. That
Exactly.
doesn't,
And this is
man.
he
That's nasty.
yeah, and that will take you to different level of relationship, you know. When Christian they worship, they are not feeling that they are insect, bugs, you know. They are children of God. So God, because He is so loving, our God, He gave us the honor to be called children, even though we are not really children of God. But He allow us to call Him Father. We don't say God, we say Father. And when we speak about Jesus, we don't say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We say Jesus. Because why?
Yeah,
I want to give Him more names better than this name. Yeshua, Messiah. I mean, that alone is enough. So the Muslims, because they worship a man, his name is Muhammad, they don't even dare to say his name without adding many titles behind the name. They
it,
claim that this is how you can respect a man, but in fact they worship a man. You know, the guy from Arizona, the Rashad Khalifa, the one the Muslims killed, he made the claim of Miracle 19. And he told the Muslims that you are kuffar. When you say Shahada, you are worshipping two people. You associate the name of a man, his name is Muhammad, with the name of God, his name is Allah. And he said, you are the same as the Christians. You associate the name of the Messiah, according to his understanding, with the name of God. You are not different. And they killed
this
him.
was recent. He got killed.
Oh, he was killed maybe 20 years ago. This guy is the one who
Oh,
came with the Miracle 19. Even did that, he put his calculation in his book. And later all the Muslims they turned against him because he claimed to be a messenger of God too.
okay.
And they killed him, yeah.
Yeah,
And until now, I
they
don't
killed.
know if they find the one who killed him. but they killed him. They found him, being killed by a knife in his kitchen. Yeah.
Wow.
But you will see here that when a Muslim they say where Jesus says I'm God, I mean all the Bible Jesus saying I'm God. I'm the living God. I am the eternal life. I am the one who drink my water will never go thirsty. The one who follow me, the one who believe in me and die, he will live. I mean, and then they say to you, "Where Jesus, I'm God."
Yeah. So he's God in the sense that he is of the same spirit.
He's what? Sorry.
He's of the same spirit. Like the Holy Spirit is God, right? Like,
yeah, you
because I
see,
think what people get confused is when, like I said, when he goes to the top of the mountain or the top of the hill, whatever it was, and he prays to his Father which is in heaven, and it kind of makes sense in my head where I can say, okay, the Holy Spirit had to have come from God, right? Because where else would it come from? Therefore, even though it is separate, it's still one because it came from the original source.
yeah, let us make it simple. Like always, I try to make it simple for people to understand because, as we said, it's very hard to comprehend how God He is because we are talking about the one. When we say a miracle is something we don't understand how it works, right? How it happened. That's why we call it miracle,
No.
right? So what about talking about the one who himself is the one who create miracles? So when we as a Christians we try to understand the Lord, we need to understand the first thing we understand that He is the Almighty, and the second you say Almighty, then you do not need to try to measure Him the way you measure everything else. He is the Almighty, which means
Yeah.
whatever is impossible for me, it is possible for Him. So if somebody says how He can be three and one, well, that is impossible for me, but it's not impossible for Him. However, even us as a human, we are more than one, let us say, entity. As an example, you as a human, you have a soul, right? Do I agree?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have a flesh, correct?
Right.
And you have mind, the brain.
Right.
If one of them is not working, you are dead.
We're three in one.
But we are three in one. But if I say to you, is the soul, is your soul, is you say yes. Okay. Is your body is you? You say yes. Is your brain is you? You say yes. But they are not one. The brain is totally different functionality from the rest. Like
Yeah.
the rest of your flesh don't give orders, receive orders. The rest of your body, the duty is to receive orders. That's all. The brain is the center of operation, and the soul is life. If one of them is gone, the rest will not be there. So even a human being is a three and one in the same time. So why it's possible for me to be one and the three in the same time, but it's impossible for God to be one and three in the same time?
Right. Because even if we pass away, it's still us. You're still a soul after this. You just
Exactly.
left.
Your flesh is gone, but now you are in the stage of being a soul.
It's still you.
Your
It's
flesh,
not.
your body is gone. Your body is gone because it's going to become a dirt, and then your brain is dirt too now, part of your. But now your soul is still there, and that's why when we say resurrection, we are reuniting what? If we are still, if we are one entity, we don't reunite it. Resurrection is you're reuniting the flesh with the soul, right? And that will
Yeah.
make you the human again. But before that resurrection, you are just a soul, just a flying spirit or wherever you are. So human being, when he tried to make it complicated, he plays stupid when he want, and he plays smart when he want. In fact, us as a human, we have the fingerprint of God. We are three and one at the same time.
Yeah. Well, that example in itself, honestly, is all the proof you really need. We're a physical being, and we have a soul. Like we know that when you pass away, what is the thing that Muslims believe is going to be tortured? Is it your soul or is it your physical body?
Well, the
And
Muslims
if
they have
it's
fiction stories like you go in the grave and the angel will beat you, which is very funny. I mean, you are dead and now the angel will beat you, and
yeah,
they will hit your head, and Uh, but we have different understanding of life and death.
right,
However,
right,
when we try to understand how God He is, there is nobody can really explain how God He is except by reading about Jesus. Because when Jesus came to us in a humble image of God as a human, that make us really understand God way easier. Because now we saw and we as they say in the disciple, they says we saw him, we touch his hands. So now we know who is God, which we never saw, but now we know and we saw. And when Jesus he come to us, he present to us how he can be the living God, yet he can be human, which means nothing is impossible for God. Because all the rejection of Muslims, the Quran says how can he be God if he and his mother they eat food? But if God cannot eat food, still God, that means he's a silly God. Like you
yeah.
are saying to
That's a
me,
really
if God he ate food, that means he lost his godhood, if we can say it in English. Uh,
yeah,
but that is a silly argument, because the God who can make me eat, why he cannot himself make himself able to eat? The one who can make he can collect you from dirt and put you together. Why he cannot be in the flesh of a human being?
right.
And if
And I
God
mean
he cannot, then God cannot be God.
yeah. And I think I've heard you say before too. I mean, it makes sense. You said that there's Jesus the man, and then the other part is the Holy Spirit, right? That's like
Say,
so.
say again, Jesus what?
You said that like there's Jesus the man, like Jesus the man, like when Jesus goes to pray to his Father in heaven, is that's Jesus the man, right? Like it's like us, like you said, we're a human being with the soul, but we're still one thing.
No, when
Um,
Jesus he is the man, still he is God in the same time. He is his son of God, and this is how the son speak to the Father. You see, praying in even in English, I pray you pray you good, pray pray is a communication between the Son and the Father. For the
mm,
conversation is holy, it is a prayer. So this is why Jesus he said, "So you glorify me as I glorify you." So when Jesus prayed to the Father, he glorified the Father, and the Father glorified the Son too. It's not only Jesus he do that. So he said, "Glorify me before all the world was exist." Jesus said. So uh, the prayer is not the prayer of a man; it is a prayer of the Son of God to his Father.
mhm.
Like when Jesus said, "Let your will be done." Here you see that the Son is totally obedience of the Father. This why he called himself the Son, and the Father is the Father. The second you say
Yeah,
the Father, you understand that the Father is the authority. You know,
right.
I am. When we see that Jesus is his equality, the equality is by the nature as a divine, as holiness. But all of us we understand that the Messiah himself is born of the Father. As you said, the everything is coming from the Father, you know. So
Yeah,
and because everything is coming from the Father, everything will go to the Father. So the Son he go back to the Father. The Son he said to the Father, "Let your will be done." Uh, the Son is coming to this earth by the will of the Father. He is the one who sinned. For God he loved the world. He sent his only begotten Son. So even when Jesus come to this earth, he is coming to do the will of the Father.
yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
very normal. The son report to the father, they say, you know,
Yeah.
like I speak to my father because, uh, 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 and when the Muslim they say how a human being can be God, and then you find that Allah he have a leg, Allah have a shin, Allah have 5 fingers, Allah have a face, Allah have a butt, Allah have a foot. Then who is this God who is not a man? How you accept him?
Who's
Yeah,
physical.
yeah. Obviously he have a physical body, and same time, when the Muslim they have objection, they say, who created Jesus? If he is God, did Jesus create himself? You know, like this is a question. Did Jesus create himself, or the Father he created him? Well, Jesus he said it clearly that before Abraham I am, and he is. The Bible says he is born of the Father, uh, but the creation of the flesh, God, the Bible says everything created by him and for
Mm,
him, which means even the flesh he have is created by him. That's why he said, you can destroy this temple and I can rebuild it in 3 days. I can, not somebody else, He was talking about his flesh, which means I can recreate this flesh again and again and again. Not only once, not
right.
only twice. You can destroy it and I will build it in 3 days. And here you notice the Messiah, he mentioned the word 3 days, you know?
Mm,
Yeah, and then again, you will need to ask yourself, what is the behind the number three? 3 days. Why 3 days? Again, you will find that Christianity is based in the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Three.
yeah.
You know,
So yeah. So before Abraham was, I am. Jesus spiritually is eternal. The
always
yeah.
exist. He's always exist, and his birth have nothing to do with his existence. His birth is not the time when the Trinity exists. No, some Muslim they will mislead you. They say to you, so where was the Trinity when Jesus was not born? You know, the answer for that is when Jesus said, "Before Abraham, I am." You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
That's
uh,
eternal.
and the answer for that, David, he was worshiping, the Messiah. Okay, how you worship? How David is calling the Messiah, my Lord, when the Messiah doesn't exist yet?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't call him,
I
you don't call him my Lord if he doesn't exist. That will be fiction.
yeah. I mean, some of the stuff definitely I want to look into more. I may not grasp everything like I want to now, but just the bottom line for me, like I said, once I read what these people were witnessing, his disciples, when you really read and see what they're saying about Jesus, what he did and how he carried himself, really you can kind of imagine somebody like we don't see people like that, obviously not just the performing miracles part, but just the way he carried himself, the patience, the love, the forgiveness, that alone won me over. I'm like, this is that's something I definitely want to guide myself to and look more into. So
Yeah, and one
I,
more thing, before you finish for today. Remember that when you read what Jesus said, you notice right away how, I don't know, my English is not really good to explain what. This is why I don't like really to talk about the Bible in English, because I find myself limited. It's not like the Quran. Quran is a stupid book. The Bible is a very, very rich, in feeling, emotion, and high language. So it's kind of a difficult for me to express. But you will notice that Jesus, when he speak, his words, let us say, is like rich. It's a heavy duty. It's not a light words as anyone making a speech. You will see how deep it is. You can make stories of a sentence. You can make meditation of one sentence. You can find a lifeline in one statement. You know, every statement he say is something special. It's not just a statement of somebody making a speech. Me and you, we are talking for a while, but then you will not find, there's no way me and you getting close to what he is saying. We can try to be smart, we can try to be genuine, we can try to be philosophers, we can try to be very logical, but then when you listen to him, you will find that you are really too small. Anything,
yeah.
and not only that, You will see when Jesus he speak of parables. Remember those parables they are mentioned 2,000 years ago. You will find that those parables they live for you today. With the time of technology, nothing changed. Choose any one of them. It fit with your life today.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you will notice that this is a book will never die. This is why he said that earth and heaven will be destroyed, but my word will not. And he's not talking about words are written. He's talking about his wisdom, which is he gave to people, what he shared with them. People will live with his wisdom. So earth and heaven will demolish, but my word will not. And now I can open any parable he said, anything. You will find that every one of them is an example of our life today. And 10,000 years from now, a million thousand is going to be working for every time. Because it's made in a very super intelligent way. It fit for every time and have no expire date.
Yeah. Yeah. I can get that 100%.
Yeah, somebody's asking me to ask you if you have a children. Well, this is a personal question. I'm not going to ask him. This is his, this is his business. And this is, if you have a question, children or not, why I want to ask him? People are asking if you have children.
Yeah, what's the purpose?
Yeah,
What is
there's no reason for personal questions. Anyway, if you have children, we pray that he will help them and he will guide them. So, my friend, anything else you want to say to me? Because it's getting so late for me. It's already
yeah.
3 a.m. in the morning. It's 2:55 a.m.
Okay. No, I'm gonna let you go, man. I'll look into it more. I'm gonna keep reading, and hopefully we speak again in the future, man. This was enlightening. I liked it a lot.
Well,
Thank you for taking my.
I'm happy that you accept the Messiah, and now actually, I can tell you are smart and you are educated, and you will read and try to, let us say, uh, I don't like to use the word meditation, but maybe this is the only word I can say. I know in English to be close, but you can try, by yourself to see where you can fit between the lines. You as a person, because
Yeah.
if I cannot find myself in the words of Jesus, then what Jesus would do for me? To try to find yourself who you are. Maybe you can look at the disciple and you see who are you between them. Are you Judah? Are you Peter? Are you John? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
each one of them is different, and we are different. You are different. I'm different from you. But I will find myself always in somewhere in the stories in the front of me, and then I can judge myself based on the story. Am I the one? Am I the Pharisees? Am I the rabbi? Am I the Roman? Am I the soldier who stabbed Jesus in his chest? Am I the one who carry his cross? Which one I am in this story, in this book? I have to find
Yeah.
myself there. And I think this is the beauty of reading the Bible. When the more you get closer, the more you will find where you fit in the book.
Yeah. I think I know who I am, but that's a topic for another day.
All right. Well, good for you. I mean, just try to focus on that and try to learn. And, always we start small and we get bigger in knowledge. And the more we know, the better we live. The less we
Yeah.
know, the worse we live.
Yes, sir.
All right.
100%.
Yeah.
Man, thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome,
for
my
taking
friend.
my call, man. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
People in the chat, they are saying to you, I don't know if you know Sam Shamoun. Do you know him?
Shamon?
Yeah, Sam Shamoun, he have a channel. He always teach the Bible. He can do better job than me because his English way better than mine. So when he teach the English, he can explain way better than my explanation English.
I listened to a guy who I don't know his name. He was a Muslim, but he converted and he teaches. I wish I knew the guy's name. I could say it right now.
Yeah, it's okay.
I think it's Danny, but it's okay.
You can search his name in YouTube. I think you can find people they can post for you. Maybe his channel, the admin, maybe they can post it for you, and you can click in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
always, Sam Shamoun, he have a very great memory in the Bible. I am the opposite of him. I have a great memory in the Quran and Islamic books,
Yeah.
because I spend a lot of time studying to fight the devil, not, you know, I mean, my mission have a different, let us say, target. In the
Yeah.
same time, because the Bible is a very deep book, I find myself limited really when I discuss
Yeah.
the Bible because my language doesn't help me.
Yeah. Well, your mission definitely plays a huge part, because I don't think I would have ever went to listen to people preaching Christianity had I not seen the faults in my own religion first. That's what
Yeah,
really opened my.
I help the Muslims to come to the conclusion that it's time to go and read other book, which maybe where your salvation will be, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
somebody the
I'm gonna
admin
let you go, man.
the admin is posting the link for you for Sam Shamoun. You can click on it if you like to subscribe to him.
Okay.
They are
Okay. I
posting that.
appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, my friend. Thank you very much for calling, and may the Lord bless you. And we pray that the Lord will strengthen you with faith and knowledge. And the Bible says, "My people have been destroyed because of their ignorance." And today you did beat your ignorance, as I did my before. And all of us, and somehow we have ignorance still until now. We have ignorance, but ignorance of salvation is deadly. I mean, if we don't
Yeah.
ignorance of not to speak good English, it's okay. English ignorance in engineering is okay, but ignorant about God, that will take you to hell. And we pray to the Lord that you are going to be saved, and I hope you will read more the Bible, and soon you will get baptized.
Yes. Of course.
All
Yeah,
right.
man. Thank you.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
Take care. God bless.
Nice night.
Take care.
Thank
Bye
you,
bye.
man.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Well, I'm glad to speak to this gentleman. Very nice person. It was a good conversation. And for me, I really struggle with explaining. I mean, he was easier to explain to because he is educated and he's smart. But usually, when you speak to a Muslim, he is trying to speak to you from the cave time. He will not listen to the Bible. That's why I avoid really wasting my time speaking to someone. He is speaking the language of cave time. You say to him West, he speak about the East. But as you see, when a person he decide to listen, he will understand. He will understand. Somebody saying, what is God? How can we imagine God? You do not need to imagine God. Go outside and go and look in the grass for little tiny flower. And then you tell me how such a beauty in such a little tiny flower can be exist. That is God, my friend. God is a beauty. And everything he created is beautiful. Maybe you are looking for a person or a character, but for me, I do not need to look for a character or a drawing or an idea. I have an amazing designer. Each time I look to anything, I like to, I use my phone to take pictures of nobody take. People take pictures of statues, etc. I take pictures of where nobody take. And when you look at the design, I mean, it's amazing. Look at this. Those flowers, we step on them, we walk on them, little tiny, in the size of a needle, but they are so beautiful. So if you want to know who's God, look, that is God. That is the art of God. That is the fingerprint of God. That is a design